Hello and welcome to Three Heroes, One Shaft presenting the Art of Warcry. We're back at it again for our monthly review of stuff that's going down in the Warcry world and how to play your best Warcry. We got a pretty good episode tonight. We're going to deviate away from all the Adepticon and tournament prep nonsense that we've got ourselves into. But first, let's go around the clock. My name is Robert Viscomi. You know me as Girth Demon.
What's up? I'm Mike Sansom. I'm Armor Enthusiast 7.
I think my name's Kyle, in case you forgot, also known as Great White Nope.
I'm Peter, the Saint 16.
And we're all here with a really heavy duty drop, and I think it was about time after a drought of no information. No pun on the flood and fire. We're not reviewing that toilet water. We're here to talk about the good old 6 war bands that were just dropped from Underworld, so you know they're extra juicy. And I couldn't be more excited about it because we got a little bit for everybody here, and I think it's going to be really cool. But first, let's kind of just check in what's going on with everybody real quick before we jump into it. Mike, do you want to start us off?
Yeah. So I did scoop some Pyre and Flood, and I've been working on my Flame or my Tong Father. Flame. I don't know. They're all flames, right? Doing some conversions on him. I'm not crazy about the head on him. He's just got like, I don't know. It's just got like this long, creepy old head, and I was like, what about these like really cool flame heads that they have in there? So messing around with those. We got a local league going on that I'm using them for. So trying to get them ready for tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, I got one scheme that I want to mess with them. So I'm excited. Finally, we've been waiting for him for so long, and I also did a little bit of internet shopping and managed to source a second and a third Tong Father. I also, which is the leader of the Pyre guy. Sorry, to be clear.
Let's be clear.
I got another leader for the Yadrillan River Blades and a bunch of Crest Blades because I was like, I'm not proxying anything for that warband. I'm gonna have the one model that's got the stuff. So it's in the mail. Got a couple other things coming, but
is this from Italy? Are you getting it from Italy?
Some of them are from Italy. Some of them
we sourced that from Italy.
In the U.S.
I want to know who's the one guy over there that's like got the drop on everybody, just selling out single pieces of sprue. Mike Sampson, my favorite customer, just shipping.
I can think of one idiot that keeps buying it. So
this guy got 3 Tong Fathers.
Right.
Yeah, so for those of you watching, if you can't get any stream runners, it's because Mike bought them all. So
here we go. Hey, I'll give you a good price. I'll give you $12 more each than I paid. No, what's going on with you though, Kyle?
Well, I mean, I really want to know what you're doing cooking with all that, all those Pyre Geists and all those maw pits. Like, it sounds like a barbecue to me. But no, I just been ready for a Nova this upcoming weekend. I got some Flesh Eater quartz I'm doing. My Fire and Flood's going to be here tomorrow, so I'll start building and painting those. You know, me, I'm always excited for a brand new Death Warband and what else I could do with it. I guess if I have to build some River Elves, I will. No, I'm actually really excited to take those from like a painting perspective. 40k I got Harlequins, so these are kind of like similar kind of poses and things like that. So really excited to see what kind of level I could take them to. So just
pretty sick.
A lot of hobbying and just a lot of play testing to see what else I could do this upcoming weekend. What about you, Pete?
Well, so my hobby's been lacking a little bit recently, but it's been more of just work's been crazy busy, life's been busy, but painting up, got my warband for this week's tournament in Jersey all done finally last week, so put that to bed, and then I started once again going back to my Night Haunt warband, going like, I'm gonna finish painting these guys at some point. So maybe by July they'll be done. But just working on that a little bit. I made the mistake of playing a Fallout 4 on Sunday, and then it was Friday, and it just kind of kept trickling that way.
Sunday?
I'll get back to those Night Haunt. It'll happen. Yeah, sure. But it's just slowly working through warbands. That's been pretty much it. So,
Pete, how many Fellwaters are you bringing?
Pete's waiting for the quest. Pete, the settlement needs your help. You got to paint models.
Right, pretty much. Yeah. No. Well, it's funny you say that because we'll talk about Fellwaters later, like when we're breaking down these warbands. Because I was getting excited a little bit there, but no Fellwaters this weekend.
Okay.
What about you?
I did not get a Fire and Flood box, which I'm really upset about because I was really stoked for him. I know, shame on me. But as you can see here, I got a couple of the Underworld boxes here. So I don't play Underworlds. That's the shocker here, and we're just painting up some Slaanesh Sybarites and Demons for tournament in Jersey. We got a little couple purple boys going here, a little belly time action with them. It's been pretty good. I cranked out, I think, 3 of the Dread Pageant this weekend, and it's been a very different painting experience going from Grim Dark, Stormcast Eternals, and City of or Order of Azir and Cities of Sigmar, and then jumping into like this like elegant and opulent style with like rich golds and purples and like blue hues. It was really a fun experience. I had a really good time. I'm excited to play him, and that's where I'm at for hobby time. And then just sitting here lusting over the box of Dark Oath that I'm like put in my cart like 7 times and like, should I pull the trigger? Should I pull the trigger? I'm probably gonna pull the trigger. I won't. I'm just gonna pussy out. But it's
listened to a lore podcast on them from the Mortal Realms, and I was like, yeah, whatever, these guys are fine. And I listened to it, and I was like, this is bad news. This might come home with me now. I might
yeah, dude. I watched the Hammer and Bolter episode again, like just to get myself. I'm like, interesting.
Those are the different ones, right? They're the like
that's the name character. Yeah, it's going to be the named box set come out, Gunner or whatever it is, but it's those dudes. But it doesn't matter. It's sick. Vows unfulfilled, turning into monsters. It's just such a cool
breaking promises, just like in real life, baby.
That's it, man. I'm just really trying to emulate my experience growing up. So, like, I just want to break all the promises, never get any extra abilities, and be like, yeah, I knew the outcome was going to happen, and then walk away, and my opponent just feels bad. It's going to be
I'm healing.
It's going to be a good emotional.
My therapy.
Emotional vampirism for me on a table. Yeah, that's where we're at for hobby time. It's pretty sick. And speaking of that, speaking of the delicious boxes you boys got to see here, we got some things to talk about here. I don't even know where we want to start with this, Mike. Where do we want to start?
Yeah,
I'm going to say, you know what?
No, you got something to say. Spit it.
I think we're going to start with there's 2 Death Order warbands. We have somebody coming off a high from one of their best placings at Adepticon. I think we should start with a little Kyle Knapp up there. Do you have, by any chance, can you throw up a Warcryer to get up? Oh man, it was already there. Like I knew it was going to happen. I didn't know it was going to happen, but I figured it. I knew it could though.
Yeah, let's start off with the one I think most people are talking about right now because a lot of people think they're busted. So let's go with the Zondara's Gravebreakers.
Okay, we're done. No more. That's it.
Yeah,
we did it.
That's it. We broke Warcry again, playing Soul Blight. Shocker.
Profiles first, Kyle.
Let's go through some of the abilities first before we go through some of the stats, because I think this is like where a lot of the talk is going to be, and I'd rather get straight to it, right?
Rip that Band-Aid off. Hey, it's going to hurt. It's not going to be gentle.
We're going to rip the Band-Aid off a little bit, but this team...
God, how many abilities? Jesus.
If you like abilities, Soul Blight's for you. I remember
reading?
playing... Yeah, I handed my opponent a 1-page model stats and about 3 pages of abilities. I'm like, yeah, we're gonna start playing in about 15 seconds. So here you go.
Hope you memorized it.
Hope you memorized them all.
It's almost like arrogant, not arrogant. It's almost like a joke that they're like, make sure you have a printout for your opponents, and then we all like play soup lists, and we're like, here you go, here's your homework for your dissertation, dude.
Like a book of grudges, the slamming down on the table.
You're just sitting there trying to study. You're like, what? You could do all this? Like, I
didn't know there was a test.
You handed over to us when that player that he murdered.
Sylvaneth. Well, we'll start with the ability I think people are most worried about. Gravebreaking. I personally feel, and I'm happy to be argued against this ability needs a little bit of an FAQ just to clarify exactly what it means. Right, because I'm going to read it how I understand it, and why, if I read it this way, it doesn't seem as bad as it, or it's still powerful, don't get me wrong, but it won't seem as powerful. But it's each friendly fighter, if you're within 3 inches of an objective, you can make an attack. Otherwise, if you're not within 3 inches of an objective, you can make a move. Some people are reading this that you could choose either or if you're on an objective. Some people are choosing this that The way how it says each other friendly fighter, for example, you could choose one to attack, the rest to move. The way I'm reading this is if you're on an objective, you can attack, otherwise, you can move. So either way, this is incredibly strong, right? We think about zombies, they're supposed to be slow. And then we see all the Underworld's warbands break that mold where the zombies are fast. This person on any double essentially just tells 3 models, hey, you get a free move anywhere on the map. Absolutely crazy, right? Turns 1, turns 2, especially if you use this twice in a row and all of a sudden they're moving 6 for free on any set of doubles right off the bat for zombies. It's like, yeah, objective missions, I can get there. That's cool. And still have a full set of moving reactions.
Tell me when it's done, guys. I'm gonna.
And it gets even worse if you think they're already engaged. And all of a sudden you get 3 sets of attacks twice, right? If you use it twice, like it just has a very, very high potential. Their stats aren't absolutely amazing, which is good, but still, it doesn't matter. Free moves are strong, free attacks are strong. Giving it to 3 models on a double is crazy. Like it's a lot of power in one ability. The other ones, not so strong, right? You got Devoted Strike, which powers up Lost for Lane, pretty much trying to protect Zondara. And the Quad, where Zondara, Lost for Lane kind of protect each other, getting bonus moves or bonus attacks. So it's kind of like the first ability empowers the zombies. The other 2 kind of empowers and encourages you to take both Zondara and Lost for Lane. I don't want to go into too much detail about them, as they're kind of very specific, or they'd be 3 inches of each other, or something like that. But really, the Gravebreaking is the one people are worried about. But
side note, you say this is like a weak ability. Devoted Strike in like any other Chaos faction or like any other faction with those quality of fighters being like, yeah, as long as I'm within 3 of my boyfriend, I get +2 attacks and strength. That's extremely insane, and for that to be the undervalued ability here is absolutely mind-blowingly wild.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, because 2 attacks and 2 strength, but like what I think kind of pushes that one a little bit over the edge is I wanted to get to the reaction, where the reaction basically states if Lost for Lane dies or Zondara dies, the other one automatically gets a permanent buff to their move and their attacks. So theoretically, you look at Zondara. If you charge in Lost for Lane, who wants to charge in with a 5-4, 2-6, really strong, fast attack profile, and basically suicide attack and it dies, Zondara reacts and all of a sudden it has a 4 attack, 3 strength, 3-6 range profile. So it's kind of like this warband doesn't get punished for having them, just kind of go be super aggressive. So it's like, all right, do I go after him and kill one? Cool, I get rewarded for it. They go after you and be super aggressive, they get rewarded for it. Do I go after the zombies? Okay, well, free moves, free attacks. Like, it just seems like no matter how you attack this warband, they just have strengths in every direction for sure.
This reaction too, I think, needs an FAQ. I think the intent is pretty clear that it's supposed to be a reaction between the 2 lovers, right? But the way that it's written, essentially, this isn't even friendly. Any hero or any hero with an agile rune mark, anytime one of those dies, whether it's yours or your opponent's, you can pop this off right now. So, and again, I think the intent is very clear. It's lust, love, right? You're not like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that ghoul leader died with the agile rune mark. I'm so sad. And just another note that
it's clearly meant for them. It's just got to be fact, which is like ridiculous because like, someone's going to be like, I brought in 7 agile heroes and all of them die and now I have 70 shots on my
like, especially if you look at like Skaven have the agile rune mark on a lot of them, so like just like anti-Skaven, you could bring in some stuff from like the Flesh Eater courts that have the agile rune mark and put it into your own warband. And then there's also the question of like, if Lost for Lane dies, I resurrect him, then he dies again. Do I just keep using this reaction and all of a sudden I've got 6 attacks, that 3 strength, 3-6 profile? I don't care. That's better than Slant Star Master. We're doing 6 to 8 attacks. Like, okay, right?
I kind of love that build though, because it's like you just keep like reinforcing the pain. Like, no, I can't lose you again. I did. I lost you again. Yeah, like, that one actually feels okay and thematic.
It's like watching the Titanic on repeat, just the door scene, right? Like over and over again. Like, let him swim back up.
But every time he goes down, she like suddenly bulks up like 20 pounds of muscle. She's like, "No, Jack," and then like You're
not allowed to come up anymore.
she just starts holding the Titanic up by herself. Oh, Jack! Like that's basically what's happening. Like this is horrible.
Yeah, so I think if we get some FAQs on their reaction and at least on the grave breaking ability, they're going to be put a little bit more in line, feel a little bit better.
Yeah. And by more in line, you mean like super duper?
They're still super strong.
Back right? Down to regular great Soulblight Gravelords instead of crazy busted. It's still
Rather than absolutely messed up good, they're just really really good. Like Zondara, I mean, a 2-inch attack range on the melee attack, great. Wizard Bolt, great. Add 2 other attacks in each category, great. Like it just feels good. Like you probably try to compare to the closest thing at 170. I would say like a Necromancer with a range attack at 145, and is nowhere as strong as that in melee. And I believe might be T3 instead of T4, and I'd have to check.
Probably, it seems likely. It's a pretty fleshy mood.
But you're essentially paying like in that case, a 25 point extra bonus to it for 1 inch on a range attack, which 100% would pay for on a resurrecting character. And that just reaction ability to where it's like, oh, I got a friend dies and I could do all sorts of stuff, right? You're paying a lot for her ability, but it's worth it. Right? If you're bringing her zombies, you better be bringing her. It's not like the D'Antelo zombies where they're good on their own. They need her to go with them for sure. Lost for Lane brings something I think is a little bit unique to Death. Like I know we have vampires, but a lot of the vampires tend to be really fast, but then not really hit that hard. Like you look at like 5-4-2-6, the closest one I could think of is Duval for 210, where it's 4-4-2-6. So for some reason, Lost for Lane is more deadly than literal vampire lord with a sword. Must be those cheeks, you know. Like I don't know.
My dude's double cheeked up on a Monday right now. Like this guy is getting the whole team bricked up, and you're trying to figure out why he's better than Duval. Look at him. My dude's wearing those tight shorts.
Kyle, is he supposed to be like a strong vampire? Because like this is just my read on. He looks like a wolf, right? So I'm just thinking we've got the full Twilight package that we can build out now.
She's Team Edward, by the way. Like we knew it.
Clearly,
fine.
Clearly. Yeah, because like even if you look, you compare like the triple to like Duval double, it's almost the exact same ability, right? Where you're adding 2 of the attacks and strength. Duval gets it on double. This guy gets it on. It's almost very similar to the same model, but not being a hero. It's on a triple instead of a double, but still strong, fast model, not a hero. Overall, just awesome because you can just throw it in there, and if it dies, who cares? Because they use the reaction, right?
Right, it's designed to like if it dies, it dies. You get the reaction. If you have to play Safeguard, it gets a benefit off dice ability. It's also a different avenue for Death that hasn't been tackled before like this. You're pretty much paying for like a Duval plus profile with like arguably different but albeit excellent abilities, and instead of having the Crimson Court with it, you get the Grave Breaking Court with it, so that's just as good. Like there's just so much here for it that's other than the questionable model, there's so much here that is just like
no question.
I just think it's nuts. It's 15 points cheaper than Duval, and it's got 1 more attack. And everything else is the same. It's like it's really strange that much of a difference, right?
I think at least from an ally standpoint though, right? Like you can't just bring it. You have to either be in Soulblight or you have to
exactly.
Bring Zondara,
you have to bring the other 2.
Limited a little bit.
But and you could look at that like a strength too, because the fact that it doesn't have the leader rune mark means you can still pull from all these other directions.
Right.
So people that love to sue, you get all excited over it because it's like,
and you don't have to take it, right? Like you can just take the zombies if you want.
Right.
That's fine.
And we're about to watch when you go through like the zombie profiles down here, because they're like zombie skeletons. I don't know what we're calling them.
Scombies.
Scombies.
Let's scroll down to them because
Zellingtons.
I've been calling since they're the Zondara Gravebreakers. I've been calling them Zondies.
Zondies.
Did I freeze?
Oh, you're frozen. You look like an idiot.
Hell yeah.
Thumbnail, baby.
Big dummy.
All right, Pete, look at you over there copying Pete.
Yeah, Rob looks like he just saw like a delicious sandwich. That was the
Oh no, I
expression.
just unplugged. I can't. Hold on. I just.
Can I say just
I
how
kicked.
weird this is that it's not me this time?
No, it's. I'm not
I'm a-
frozen. I'm not frozen because I
All right,
just.
Peter, say
I-
something controversial. You can be robbed for today.
All right, well, I'm going to go through these guys.
I kicked the wire.
Let's keep rolling with this because
I kicked the wire and unplugged it. That's what happened.
So the first two, Toil here, right?
Oh,
2 inch.
I got a Charlie horse.
Rob, just stop.
Somebody mute Rob.
So Toil, 2-inch attack range, which is huge, right? So like I guess the best comparison you're gonna use this for is like a skeleton with a spear.
Mm-hmm.
So 2-inch attack range, 2 attacks, that's the same. 4 strength instead of 3, then a 2/3 damage profile. Still 3-inch move, like you got the 3 toughness, which is 1 less than a skeleton. So you are paying 25 points for an extra chunk of damage and an extra strength on your attack, but then you lose a toughness. So overall, it's not necessarily an upgrade, but it's not necessarily a downgrade considering normally an extra attack's 25 points on its own. Extra bit of strength of 15, right? You're paying 30 points. So 40 plus 30 should be 70. It's sitting at 65 for some reason, and I assume it's because of the toughness, right? So it's kind of just, yeah, you can see where the blessings are put in. Side grade, perfectly fine. Crack Tomb is
for that one, Kyle.
Yeah.
My favorite part of him is when you're not looking at the list, but when you're playing these guys with Exiled Dead, you can have your opponent completely confused when you play Coil and Toil in the same deployment and have them try to figure out which one is which.
You know, the guy with the arm.
The undead guy. You get it. Yeah. You get it, right? You get it.
So before I was about being disruptive, I was gonna say these profiles and the point costs and just the whole warband. It's like Soulblight gets like, oh, what do you want for dinner tonight? Do you want a filet mignon? Do you want a tomahawk? Do you want a wagyu? And then everybody else is like, you can get a Whopper, I guess. Like it's insane. The options here are just.
Hope you like gristle.
yeah, dude. Like you don't even get it, and it's like raw gristle. It's. Dude, but you get the free, like the double on these guys, right? The 2-inch range, 2/4, 2/3. Who cares? That's just extra dice.
That's what I was gonna throw. That's exactly what I was gonna build to. Like, sure, you're paying for the blessing for all these 3, but at the end of the day, you have to remember, like compared to a normal skeleton with those blessings, it gets a free move or a free attack. Like, so that's crazy, right? That really pushes them above and beyond. Because you think like, oh, 2-inch range, like, yeah, okay, but if I'm sitting on an objective dead center of it, cool. You come within range of me, even if I'm already gone, I'm still gonna poke you. 2/3 is still gonna chip people here and there, and that 2/4 turns into 6/4 if I get to attack you twice and get a free attack action, right? We continue on, like Crack Tomb, more comparison to a zombie with the 10 wounds, right? 2, 3, 1, 5. Kind of a side grade again. You're paying 15 more than a zombie, but you're also getting an extra crit damage out of it, which is really big. So objectively, probably one of the worst ones here. But once again, free move, free attack. Still not a bad trade-off for an extra bit of crit, right?
Chucking dice on that guy, you don't care, right? You just like, I just want crits, so the more dice I chuck, the more crits I get in all likelihood. So that's all that matters.
That's what happens with these high crit profiles. You're fishing.
It's so absurd. Is that double board wide, by the way?
It's board wide. There's no range.
So you have 3 different points of 3 different people engaged, and all of a sudden you're like, I'm grave robbing.
You don't even need to see them. It doesn't say visible either. You could be hidden behind a wall. Nope, they just do whatever I say they do. But the last part I want to bring here is that Pick is also a 2-inch range, 2/4, 1/4 for 55. So Pick is objectively the strongest of the 3 and the cheapest of the 3.
And the prettiest. Don't forget the prettiest.
The prettiest of the 3.
She is a beaut.
Oh,
but all of
these combined,
I like the jowls.
Like you're giving free attacks to multiple models with a 2-inch range. That's strong. Like that's a ton of area control. Not even consider the move aspect. So I expect to see these guys on top tables for sure. In terms of fighting against them, not sure what there's a good tactic for it yet, because normally you'd go after the necromancer that's doing it. But if you do that, Lost for Lane gets super powerful. So good luck, I guess. Something I'm still working through to try to figure out, like how do you approach these without feeling
5-10 damage profile on 2 points of the board, and then everything's gone and you don't worry about it.
But anyone else have anything for Zondaras before we move over to the other Death Warband here?
I feel like you covered so much there, Kyle.
Yeah, that was a book report.
Yeah, because if I was going to run these tomorrow just as a quick fun list, I would just throw all 5 of them in a war.
Fun.
I would throw all 5 of them in a warband with Dientelos and his 4 zombies. It's 10 models, exactly 1,000 points.
And then we all see Kyle out in the parking lot. We go, "Hey Kyle, how you doing, buddy?" And we beat his face.
Yeah, you get 2 necromancers, 2 res targets, Lost for Lean running around the board, crackling arcs in one group, and then the zombies running around on doubles. Like, okay, it's just Ability City on just 2 Underworld's warbands, and enjoy honestly probably a really competitive list for just 2 Underworld's warbands. So,
and listen, like we're making jokes, like in a competitive sense, like this is like probably problematic. But like if I'm a new player and I love zombos and skeletons and stuff, and someone's like, "Hey, just grab a box of the Exiled Dead, grab a box of Zondaras, it's
and
like
you're
$80,
done.
and you have a great team to grow with and learn with." I think that's a phenomenal thing for the game. Does it suck that it's Soulblight? Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. And it's only because they already have good stuff. Like they're just getting more to the buffet that like every other team doesn't get. But in all honesty, like for like a new player, like, hey, can you recommend me something? I really like this, but I don't want to buy a box of like 50 Deadwalker zombies. Like, yeah, sure, just get Zondara's Gravebreakers. They're really cool. They got names, like there's flavor. It's a cool grab for them, and I'm personally a big fan of like the fact that this is an option for new players coming in.
I like the fact that it's kind of what we've been seeing with chaos, or sorry, with destruction for so long, where we have all these different side grades of similar beat sticks that just have different tools, right, that they have available for them. It feels like they're kind of doing the same thing with Soulblight here. I honestly, I joke about it, and as much as I just don't enjoy playing against them, like I know there's a ton of people that absolutely love them, and like getting more of those tools is great because you can diversify what you're doing. I would also much rather they stay in this area where they have this low model count, or sorry, these smaller models that are getting tricks instead of them getting some massive monster beat stick, because like once Death gets something like that, it's bad. It's bad news already. They've got so much control and stuff, but if they get something that can smash, that's going to be real scary. So
I do have to say, Mike, you brought up one point here that I really like about the design, almost everything in these 6 is that they're really encouraging you to take the entire warband. So if you look at some of the past ones where you think like Calthea, Kixie, you can just take one Calthea, one Kixie, splash it into anything, then their abilities are so good, you don't need anything else, right? So this one says like, okay, if I'm just going to bring Gristla, it's nothing to write home about. She's not that great on her own, right? Like you kind of have to bring the zombies with her, or you kind of have to bring Lost for Lean with her to actually get the use out of it, which does constrain the list building a little bit more.
It's like what they did with Cities of Sigmar, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a soft faction lock essentially, where like, and that's a really great point. I like that a lot.
But could you splash? Sure, but no, they're encouraging you and rewarding you for not doing so. But let's go to the Skinnerkin, unless anyone's got anything else for these guys.
Nope.
Go to Skinnerkin. I think Skinnerkin are for a new warband. I think they're like, especially because you and I have been testing him out and playing against them. I have some
So for those
of what I've been saying.
For those of you watching, this is what I'm actually going to be bringing this next weekend. I'm really excited about this warband. I think they bring a lot of unique abilities to both Flesh Eater Courts and just Death as a faction. So the beginning here, back to the kitchen. As a reaction, like we've seen this before, the Skinks have it. Basically, you attack me, I get taken damage, I can disengage. Really awesome, especially when you're looking at a T3 warband, T3 faction. Like Baffling Parlay, they also still get, which reduces an action. So having the choice is really nice because, for example, if I go up against like a Stormcast, which has 3 attacks, I'm going to Baffling Parlay, right? I want to stop it, right? Maybe so I don't die in 1 hit, I'll die in 2 hits, right? But still takes away an action. Versus something that wants to dump 2 hits into me. Now I could say, hey, let me disengage and get out of here. Or, hey, this guy's gonna move up, attack me once, I could disengage, get onto the point, right? Like it just creates options for the team, which is really nice in conjunction with Baffling Parlay. the money one here is yet another double, because let's give Death all the great doubles on the planet here. Is Get Out of My Larder. I love this ability. Essentially, any of them can pick a friendly fighter within the warband. So once again, talking about how the warbands are kind of soft faction locked, and you're rewarded for bringing more of that same faction models here. Can tell someone else in the warband within 6 inches that they can make a free move. So if I have Gristla, I go to Cedric, they both get to make a free move. And then it also makes it so they could activate right afterwards, like Inspiring Presence. So it kind of encourages that I move, he moves, and then he can attack after me. That kind of like swarm feel. But to me, it's more about, free moves, right? On a double, I get 2 free moves. So both of the
Just
Death warbands added to the game just get tons of free moves on doubles.
Just thinking like sad Claws of Karanak noises right now. They're like, we could do doubles too, but it's restricted to our worst fighter in the one cool one.
I do have to say they did nerf it a little bit, because all of the people in the warband, when we get to the stats, will see it. Instead of move 5 is move 4. So it doesn't feel as bad as it could have been. I'm sorry, Rob, what are you going to say?
No, it's completely fine. Keep in mind you have to make a viable target for this. You just can't be like, get out of my larder and then move one up. Like, you have to have somebody else within 6, so it is a lot more balanced. And this is something I enjoy about the new FEC rework and everything, is it doesn't feel like the Soul Blight shenanigans and tricks and the amount of stuff they have with the quality of fighters that they have. So picking, and you'll see with the stats when we all go through them, when Kyle and I were first testing these out, it was really crazy, because like I picked Brethren and the Bolt because I play a lot of Order. He picked this because it was FEC, and then we both were kind of like lost on what we picked for ourselves. But I looked at it, I'm like, this makes sense. This is the aggro tempo that FEC wanted, that they were lacking. We're pretty much firing 2 of ourselves up, and then I get the chance. I get to activate an Inspiring Presence. This is, you can activate. Very important. Similar to Magic, you may, right? So I don't have to activate them after if I don't want to, but I can if I want to go, I'm going to move up for free, engage, swing 2 dice and move this guy up, and then he's going to activate and then double attack again. So it's kind of meant to
tell a friend to move, they grab the treasure, and then they get to activate after and double move away. Like, a lot of cool options with it.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool things to it that you can do, and it doesn't feel where it's like grave breaking, where it's like, oh, my buddy over there in another deployment, go make a free move, and then like it's across the board, and you're just like, hey, we're gonna attack together now, everybody on 3. Like, it's
holding hands, just, right?
Yeah, yeah, dude. Like this is a very fair ability, but like when it's a double and it goes off, it's strong. Playing against them and seeing it in person, like, you're like, oh dang, like there's a couple guys on here that have range 2 and 3, so it's like, ooh, he moved him into a position, or ooh, we're going to move him so that way if I want to activate after this, I could just run him out so I don't have to worry about losing them. It's really, really cool, and there's a lot of cool fun play to play with it.
Going to the next one, though, is the one I'm actually the most excited about, and the one I want to see the most play with. Play a Banquet. Basically, if you kill someone, you can use a triple, place a token, and then any of your allies within 6 inches can just heal for 3 at the end of the turn. Like, this is what I wanted the Pyregeist to be.
Sad cremation noises.
I don't know why cremation's only at 1 inch when I get to heal at 3 inches. Like, this thing is awesome, right?
No, this is 6 inches to the center of the Banquet token.
Right.
You get to heal 3 damage.
Heal 3 forever. It doesn't go away, right? So if I kill someone turn 1 and I was able to use this, it's just like, yeah, as long as within 6 inches of this, I'm going to heal 3. Like, that's a crazy powerful static ability. They did balance it a little bit, where they say after determining control of objectives, like, matters a little bit less here compared to the Pyre, which you'd hope the damage goes off first, so the control of the objectives matters more. But still, right? Like, keeping consistent to that.
Yeah, design space, like you said, Kyle, it's interesting to see that they're linking that all of these tokens that we're leaving on the board seem to, whatever the effect is always going to be after objective control is determined, which is I don't know how much it means, other than the Pyre is
it does mean a lot, because if you look at what they've done even just a couple warbands back in Scabix, having a similar ability where I poison the objective, and that happens before the objective's controlled. So my poison could kill you, and then I control the objective, right? So it's kind of like, all right, now it's harder for me to plan, am I going to control this or not at the end of turn? Because I might just die. Maybe I have to take the risk. Versus here, it's like, all right, I have less to worry about from that standpoint. But this is like, I just think there's a lot of options with this, like being able to go in there with a bunch of like OBR, right? T5.
Yeah, it's not faction locked, right? You just
heal.
ally her in. She kills something small. You drop the thing down. All of a sudden, your bone boy is T5 getting healed up. I was just about to say it, Kyle. Yeah, it's exactly right.
It just feels good on that standpoint.
Yeah.
Like, and the best part, if you look at their abilities too, compared to even Zondara's, none of them are limited to a single person. Any of them can do any of these abilities, which is something else that I like about it. I say, I want to do this ability. Cool. Any of them can do it. Sure, like grave breaking, if they all can do it, would be beyond busted. So I'm glad that they limited that at least. Like, at least only one person could do it, right? Like, oh my gosh. Or the double attacks. Like, I'm glad it's only the one guy. But the fact that any of them can do this. When we go to the stats, I'm going to explain like why this can get really crazy because of the quad. This is the ability that I wanted in FEC. Any of them can use price flaying, which they crit on a 3+. Like, that is nuts, right? Just be like, all right, no matter what your toughness is, I crit on 3+. 1s and 2s are my miss, and suddenly, like, my damage can go off the charts. But let's go to the actual stats, because you're going to see like why I like this quad so much. So, like, we'll start off like with Grisla.
Good old Grisla.
Honestly, kind of a really basic profile, but points-wise, she's super well costed at 160. Like 160, not overpriced. 4,420 puts her like, we'll say the average cost of a like one box warband, typically like 200 points.
Bespoke leader, right?
Yeah, like a bespoke leader is like 175, 200. She's a little bit cheaper, which is great. Force tax. Nothing to write home about in terms of a leader. 4 strength, average. 2-4 damage. I like just average all the way through, right? So it's one of the things I like about it. There's nothing busted about it. There's nothing
solid
like
blender
broken
for
about it. Just
160.
Solid blender. Yeah. And then especially when you start looking at the abilities, you could see like, oh, she can command other people to move. Or 2-4 is like, all right. But then on a quad, essentially I'm critting on 3+, is 8 attacks, critting on 3+, doing 4 damage each. That's scary, right? That could be a lot of damage, right? Potentially
the triple, you just need a kill, right? It doesn't have to be anything big. It doesn't have to be from anyone in particular. You kill some little 8 wound chaff, and all of a sudden we're eating good.
It's great. I just think it fits really well because like you have to remember everyone in this warband on that double, since I can command someone else and myself to move, essentially has a free charge. So everyone having a free charge means that we don't want these attack profiles to be busted because then they're going to just charge in with 2 models, kill somebody, then the other guy gets to go and he kills somebody. And it's kind of like, this sucks, like double charge, double killed, and there's nothing I can do to react about it.
Well, something too, because we kind of talked about this with the last warband, is again, the rules encourage them to play together.
Yeah, for sure.
Which
value only goes up.
Yeah, which I think is great. It's great design space on GW's part, but going through the rest of the stats, it's interesting that they designed it that way.
And by not taking more of them for some of these, especially with like the doubles, right? If you're not bringing stuff that you can use that double on, you're actively making that double weaker. It's easy to target it and lift it off. You don't have as much redundancy for options for what you can use it for.
Which it's going to be, as Peter pointed out, it's going to be the pattern throughout this whole video. You're going to see that. But going to the fighters, Karnskir is probably the weakest person in this warband by a long shot.
You bet.
It's 120 points.
Every time it comes up, Rob's just like, it's got pew.
Yeah, dude, it's wild. What a weird design. Look at it, dude. This thing's yelling at you like
I
it's
also
a 7th grade
I think I broke like half the fingers on this thing when I was trying to build it too. Like, I don't know what was going on with the plastic, but just
I've seen a lot of stuff with it. If you get one and it's broken, just reach out to GW because they're real good at replacing stuff. And
my Lexer came broken, so
I glued it, fixed it. It wasn't that bad. I was able to repair it, so I'm not upset. But honestly, the weakest one, the warband, and the reason I say this is 4 attacks, okay, pretty good. 3 strength, okay. 2-3 damage is okay. 10 wounds, whatever. 7 move, okay. It's fast. It can fly. But I could take 2 ghouls for the same cost. And the ghouls are 3-3-1-3. move 5, and it's 3, 8 on the ghoul. So I get 6 more wounds, 2 more activations, and not really lose that much out of it. Like, the reason people are going to be bringing this is if you want to be able to fly across the board, pop that double to give them a free move, fly somewhere else, tell a friend to go and do some stuff, right? Kind of gives you that mobility piece to have the other pieces in this warband do really well. But at 120 points, you're probably not breaking it. You're better off probably just slamming some ghouls in there. So,
rule of cool, though, because that's one of the coolest models in the warband.
Yeah, Pewbat's coolest model in the warband.
Woo, let's get him out there.
Are you unironically saying Pewbat's the coolest one right now?
Actually, yeah, I am. I actually think
you really like that model. I'm not gonna knock if that's what you like. I'm not gonna knock it. Like
I do have to say,
I can tell you're already knocking it, but yeah, that's all right.
Like, I do have to say, like, the face is awesome. The arms are awesome. Like, most of the model is actually like, really, really cool and very reminiscent of the gore. It's like a miniature gore warden, basically.
I thought it was gonna actually be on a 40. I thought it was gonna be the leader the first time I saw it.
It's the same base size as the ghoul. It's tiny.
Great. Yeah, it's wild when I actually saw it. I was like, this is a baby one.
Yeah.
But it
baby gore warden.
Yeah, this warband's great for proxying because honestly, just chuck him on a 40 and pretend he's a gore warden anyway, right? But also, honestly, like, we've got a couple of the other ones. I was like, you got like what is it? The what's the guy that cuts the heads off? The decapitator. Like you got a couple of great decapitator proxies in this warband.
Young Master Kretch.
Yeah, dude.
YMK, bro. YMK.
Defensively, this guy reminds me a lot of Snurk Sourtongue in Gloomspite. Just got 10 wounds, 3 toughness, and a ton of points that you're spending on that. This guy's got a different utility where he wants to be zipping around the board instead of Snurk just trying to reach out and blow stuff up. But like you said though, Kyle, that the synergy with the movement shenanigans, you're not always going to want to take this guy, but definitely there's going to be missions and packs that you're like, oh, let's go, let's get him moving, let's zip him
for sure. Going on to Kretch, like Kretch is pretty sweet. I like Kretch a lot. 3 attacks, 4 strength. 2-3 means you can blend some stuff pretty well. So just remember, get that charge in there. 6 attacks, 4 strength, 2-3. You're probably killing some chaff units. The one thing you're going to see with this warband, though, I mean, they are 4 move, which is average, but they have no defense at T3, and they're at 8 wounds. And this is what's like what kills me, like when I look at Zondara's, where it's like 3 move, 3 strength, and then they got 10 wounds. And then their attack profiles aren't much worse. It's like, it just shows you like why is Zondara's pushed so hard compared to this.
Sure, people like necromancers, man. It sells so well.
But also like the inspiring presence aspect of these guys, if that's where you're going with it, Kyle, right? Like we know that Games Workshop is overvalued, or they've placed a high level of value. I actually think the ability in this warband with these profiles, you can actually capitalize on it. It's one of the first times they've actually nailed it. You're like, oh, I might use this. Like, these are so delicate that I need. It's like monster killers, right? Shout out our last video that as of recording released today. Go check it out. What's up, eggs? But like, you want to pile in and then you want to smash right away. You don't want to be standing there and try to throw hands because you're not going to catch any very well.
No.
But that's where, like, I'll also say the counterpoints of this, because you look at, like, Flensmaster Pudrick, right? 4 attacks, awesome. Strength 3, 1-3. So, like, for 65, you're paying 10 points more than a ghoul. Moving 1 slower, but you're getting an extra attack. That's an awesome profile, right? But at strength 3, like, this is where getting countered to death can really hurt you. You have to be careful with it.
I mean, he's an elf.
But, like, this is where, like, playing this team, you could really capitalize on, like, if your opponent has gone, and he just gone once with 1 model, and then all of you swarm that 1 model, it's going to feel really, really good. If you try to go up against a Bone Reaper that hasn't gone yet, you're just going to sit there and be like, okay, you just died to yourself, right? Like, have fun with that. But the one I'm most excited for is the last one, is Cedric the Chain. It's 5 points more than a ghoul, but it has a 3-inch attack range.
Yeah, it's
that
wild.
Is awesome, right? Like, holy crap. So 3-inch attack range means with that double, this guy gets to move 4, attack at 3. So he's got a 7-inch threat range, right? And this is where I talked about like why I love the quad so much. Flensmaster and Cedric with the quad suddenly get super deadly. So if you're, say, using Flensmaster, right? 4 attacks that crit on 3 ups at a 1-3 profile, you could easily churn out, 4 times 3 in a single attack, 24 damage if you get lucky on 3 ups. Like, what 65-point model gets to go quad? All right, 20 damage. You know, like that is scary when it comes down to like the high end of what a single model can do on a quad. Because even if I rampaged, right, 12 attacks, 1-3, but only strength 3, probably not killing much. Critting on 3 up, I'm probably killing some stuff.
So does that quad carry till the end of the activation or just the attack?
I don't remember.
End of activation, I believe.
It says next melee attack action.
Is it next melee or all of it?
It's next melee, but still, right? Like even moving in, doing that at once, right? For a quad, for a 65, 55 point model to chunk someone for 10 wounds and fish for the rest, it's still good. Like it's still much better than a rampage is going to be on like Cedric, right? Not having to worry about strength anymore.
It's interesting because it gives you a potential, because you're not going to rampage with these guys ever unless you're in the most unique, specific situation, right? You're not going to spend your 60 point model, give them a quad, and go like, all right, get in there, buddy, unless you really need it for a very, very tight situation. But again, there's actual play with the quad now with these guys because you're not invested in the same way that you are with, okay, I rampage, now I get 3 attacks. Well, I've got 8 wounds and I'm not hitting very hard, so I might just counter myself to death. These guys, if you just need to finish something off, that can be massively impactful. So and realistically too, double and a quad is not too unreasonable to get in a single turn, right?
Right.
And the second part I was bring up about abilities, talk about the double and the quad, is the double, having them grouped together and then using the Royal Hunt, where you can make a bonus attack action and then you add 1 to the attacks action for each friendly fighter within 1 inches, right? To the attack and damage, right? So you could use a double to empower a quad because remember, you're going to use it as inspiring presence. So grab 2 guys, group them together, all of a sudden +3 attacks, +3 damage, and you're in the money. But the one thing this warband brings, and I don't know if this was a mistake in the print, but right now rules is written is when they changed Feck, they got rid of one of their best abilities, which was the Bringer of Death.
Don't even bring it up, Kyle. This is a mistake. So, they're so bad at editing for the
Bringer of it's in the magazine.
Don't even mention it.
It's in the magazine, and Bringer of Death is WOG. It's essentially if you get trip 6s, you add 3 to everyone's move within 6 inches of this fighter. So that means Death now has WOG back again when they had lost it before.
I explicitly tell everybody listening, ignore what Kyle said.
Yeah, that's a no-go.
They clearly printed all of the old rules
that
they had.
Yes,
printed in there, but they mess up White Dwarf rules all the time for so many things. So don't let Kyle use it against you because he's a garbage person. He already plays Death, and now he's trying to cheat too, double cheating. Forget this guy.
All right, we're done with Death here. We're done with Death here.
But it's technically there. Technically there until they fix it.
It's not there. Not using it on Saturday.
Technically we're friends with Kyle, right? If he uses it, technically we're friends with Kyle.
But this warband could actually use it with the move 4, though. It actually makes sense.
Yeah, it could use it, but it doesn't exist anymore. Got it. Next.
And we're gonna miss it. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
We just had a 30-minute seminar on Death. I'm done. Let's go.
You're cut off, Kyle. You're cut off.
I can keep going if you want.
No, you're gonna talk about the ghoul stats. Let's go.
Pete, you want to do
good analysis? Good analysis on it though. But
say that again, Kyle. Sorry,
we did the ghoul stats, right? We're on the next one now.
Yeah.
Yes, you're done.
Words on these from anybody other than Kyle telling you to cheat as hard as you can.
Yeah,
I'm not saying to cheat. That's what the rules is written.
Kyle's like, listen, if you want to come out with me and Vinny 3 Toes in the back and fucking cheat at Warcry tournaments, just bring your boxes and Zondaras and Gristles.
It's in the magazine. My folded magazine says it.
Yeah, look, Kyle's gonna come in and be like, "Fucking right here, idiot," and then I'm gonna lose my shit on Saturday.
You're the TO at your tournament next weekend, right? So don't let it. No.
I'm technically not the TO.
You know what? I'm bringing my Soulsworn now. I'm gonna net you permanently on a triple now because the rules is written.
I had to think about what Soulsworn was for a second. Like you said it, and it didn't click in my head. And I used one in my list. I'm like, "What's Soulsworn?"
Into the death.
Yeah, dude. I'm like, "What's Soulsworn?" And I had to like access.
I'm just gonna create a team with the most badly written abilities and just have my opponent try to figure out what I'm doing.
I would let someone strike you in the fucking throat if you did that, and I mean that wholeheartedly. If some little kid just like chopped you, Liam Neeson chopped you in the throat, I'd be like, he's okay, it's fine. And you're going to be like, oh, on a triple.
Pete, you want to do Daggok
Pete,
for us?
please go.
Yeah,
please.
let's get to the Stab-ladz.
Let's
move it along here.
Flux Master with Ritual Dagger.
Some Finks. Let's do abilities.
You can just click on the side and it just goes instantly to where you want.
Oh, I didn't even. Yeah, you know what? I have I got it on my screen, and I got a bunch of stuff on the side covering it up, but I can't see it. So no, good call. I'll do that from now on. Thanks for pointing it out.
I was gonna say, man, I was like, what are you doing, dog?
Yeah, no. Yeah, I had a lamp covering that side of it, and yeah. Anyway, Pete, hit us up. What you got?
Right. So the Destruction Warband that we got this time around was Daggok Stab-ladz, which is 4 cruel boys. And what we got here ability-wise is Leave 'em Bleeding, which can only be used by Jags the Bleeda, which is the knife lad. But
Jimmy 3 knives.
needs more knives on that model. A fighter can only use this ability if an enemy fighter who was allocated damage points by an attack action made by them this activation. Roll a dice for each wound allocated to the enemy fighter at the end of the battle round. For each 4-up, allocate 1 damage point to that fighter. So, I mean, for a double, depending on what you're trying to focus down, it could be a really good way to, literally bleed them out. So I think it has some play there. The double hooking your guts, which that gets used by Grak to hook, which is one of the models I'm actually most excited about out of the 4, I'll be honest. Until the end of the battle round, after an enemy fighter makes a disengage action that began within 3 inches of this fighter, allocate D6 damage points.
I'm going to say this to bring death up one more time for one reason.
No.
I wish they fix
What's
this
happening? Hold on. What's happening?
No. I wish they fix this ability just to be similar to the Feck one, where it's an aura rather than just one model. Like, I don't think it would have been broken if they had made it just like Hungry Talons. I'm just saying they should have made it better, in my opinion.
Sure. Yeah, it's to be fair, it's a niche ability. I mean, there's going to be times where this could be like, hey, D6, take it. Where most of the time you're probably not going to use this ability. But that doesn't take away from the model, right? The triple Roar of Kragnos, which this gets me all excited, and you'll know more when we look at the stats. But Herc the Howler, the guy with the big old horn there. Right, until the end of the battle round, add 1 to the attack characteristic of melee attack actions made by visible friendly fighters while they are within 6 inches of this fighter. So obviously he doesn't get that because it's visible, right? So he doesn't get the bonus himself, but the ability to create that AoE damage boost to everybody around him, super useful. And then the quad, I think this is a great quad. I like quads that make you be like, hey, I could actually see me using this instead of Rampage in certain situations, is great. Stealing your Finks, which fantastic, by the way. A fighter can only use this ability if an enemy fighter has been taken down by an attack action made by them this activation. Gain a number of wild dice equal to the value of this ability. This fighter makes a bonus move action, right? So obviously this only gets used by the leader, Daggok himself, but the ability to just suddenly go like, hey, instead of that quad 6, maybe I want 6 wild dice next round.
Yummy.
And especially it makes you really want to design warbands that feed off of wild dice then too, because again, how often is it going to happen that you just get a quad 6 set up and you can do that? But the fact is it's something you want to think about. I mean, I think as far as a quad, it's super thematic.
All I gotta say is if people don't think this is a decent quad, play Mystic Glade once and you realize what an abundance of wild dice can do to a game.
Honestly, I'm so glad that they're actually recognizing closer to the real value of a wild dice, because like playing a ton of narrative, one of the catch-up mechanics in narrative is if somebody's got like 3 artifacts and like an ally on their squad, you only get 1 wild dice to try to even it out, and they're not the same. It's not close. You don't even get anywhere near to catching up. So like stuff like this, looking at like, hey, like not like 1 wild dice is absolutely good. There's also kind of a soft cap when you're getting wild dice, right? Like if you get 5 wild dice and you roll, a straight, okay, great, you've got 5 doubles when you otherwise wouldn't have. But most of the time what it ends up doing is lets you upgrade. Say you roll triple, double, single, you're going, okay, sweet, I got a quad, I got a triple, I can make a double, and then I'm just dumping the rest of it into initiative. So it's cool because it basically caps you at only being able to be better at initiative and guarantee initiative, while letting you upgrade everything. It doesn't cascade and like get way out of control where you're sitting on 5 quads on a turn or something like that, which is great.
But it's nice too because you can literally supercharge a turn and still be like, I'm going to make the first move.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly.
I mean, that's huge.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's go down to these profiles
real quick. Actually, before we do that, the first ability is written.
I want to talk about that.
It's so horrifically written. It talks about allocating damage points. It talks about wounds allocated. It talks about damage points. This is written in a way that essentially it doesn't do anything. I think just because of the way that the actual wording of how you're allocating damage, all that kind of stuff. I think we had a big chat about it on the Discord, and I think my read of it has always been I think the most reasonable interpretation of it is damage dealt by this fighter to an enemy. You make the rolls for that. I know a lot of people have been looking at it going like all of the wounds that fighter currently has, you make a roll, roll of dice for each one of those. I think those are the 2 big schools of thought for it. But this needs clarification. It's really written poorly.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say the same thing because it's like, it really looks like if I activate this and I deal 5 and then I have a friend that deals 5, that you have to roll 10 dice and then essentially just doubles the damage done to this person by the end of turn, which on a double is incredibly strong, right?
Exactly.
That could utterly decimate a team because you just like, all right, deal 5 to this guy, he takes another 5 at the end of turn. Go to another guy, deal 5 to him, use a double, he takes another 5 at the end of turn, and that doesn't seem to be intentional.
Well, yes and no, because I could kind of see it swinging the other way in the fact that like the whole point is he's the trigger guy, right? He's got to get in there and start stabbing, and then if everybody else joins in, the bleed out effect is going to wear that fighter down at the end of the battle round. Which
the way that I see it, it's like it's his knives though, right? He's the guy that's stabbing, so he's causing the bleed. Like, yeah, sure, but like you got a guy with like a club bashing your skull in, right? Like, sure, internal bleeding, maybe we can roll for that too. But like, yeah, I just kind of saw it as like, he's making all these like 1,000 cuts and things like that. But yeah, again, I think there's a solid argument for both. There is a super powerful. In potentially for it to be super powerful, if it's all of the wounds, there's also potential for it to be super terrible if it's only for the wounds that he causes too. So it's really hard to figure out.
I don't know about that, but it just because it fits more in line with the wounds that he causes, right? Because it makes his damage consistent. So like if I'm rolling 4 dice twice, right, 8 attacks, it's a 1/5. Any crit, this thing gets crazy, right? Because it goes from 5 to 10 essentially, right? But even if I just get 3 normal hits, that takes it from 3 damage to 6 damage, which feels pretty good, right? Like 6 damage is a decent chunk on a model.
It's 50% of those dice, right? So if you do 3 damage, realistically, you can expect 4.5 damage for it, right?
They go to 5. Like it still feels better on a 90-point model using a double to just kind of protect yourself.
That's been my argument for it too. But again, I think there's a fair interpretation on both sides, and I think.
But it's also
talk about it before the game, right? If you're playing this model, agree with the TO, agree with your opponent. Hey, this is how we're going to play it this time. So you don't just go, I'm rolling 30 dice at you, baby.
Right.
The one last thing I'll say, it's after they attack too. So having the choice after an attack rather than before really does help it too, because you can always roll badly and be like, yeah, it's probably not worth it.
Right.
Yeah, it's really where it's a safer double to invest into because it is still banking on you making that connection. Whereas when you see stuff like Rip It Out or Quiet Pox Explosive Shot, that's just use it. You better roll that hit, not a crit. This works on both. So it's a lot smarter. And you could see the people designing this are taking lessons learned and kind of subtly tweaking and applying them. And I think it's pretty cool. It's a fun ability. It's thematic. The dude's got 3 knives. It's Roberto, the stabbing robot from Futurama. I'm all about it. Go to the profiles, Pete.
Check this out, Rob. Whoa! Just for you. Click the side, baby.
Oh my.
I'm a hacker. I know what I'm doing.
So starting out with Daggok here, I actually got kind of excited when I saw his profile because a lot of people were like, he's not as good as Killaboss. Like, why bring him? To me, like, I get excited because for his stat block, which is not bad by any means. I mean, we talked about Gristle not being bad at, was it 160?
Yeah.
What's Death? So she cheats. She just gets 20 points off for
and that's
Death,
right.
So
he gets an extra inch of attack, extra 5 wounds. He's getting his 15 points worth.
The biggest thing too is that 2-inch range, and especially going off of the classic Cruel Boy reaction, where you know you can 100%. Reach over and give a little bit of an extra stab there. That's why I like Manok so much over a Killaboss is that 2-inch range. So now you got another guy that's got that 2-inch range, but he's cheaper. And I can't tell you, because I build a lot with Cruel Boys, how often I'm like, I need another 15 points somewhere. The fact that he's at 175 for that profile and the ability to go venom encrusted weapons and get that damage up to a 3-5 instead of a 2-4, give this guy a strength blessing if you got the points for it. If not, he's going to do all right by himself. So I actually think he's a really solid bundle of stats for a warband that could really use a better utility hero.
And he's someone, if your opponent is playing him and has a quad, know what's happening, right? He's going to steal your Finks. Get your babies away from him. Don't let him kill anything because, he's going to steal your Finks. He's going to give you a bunch of wild dice to deal with.
Right. So I think he's a great choice, honestly. Blessed or unblessed, I think he's definitely got play.
I agree.
So, going down to Grakta Hook. This is another guy I'm super excited about because, again, that 2-inch range, 130, you're getting that 15 wounds. Yeah, he's T3, so you got to kind of watch him there. But that 2-inch range helped keep him out of combat a little bit. But that 3-5, 3-4 profile, and again, don't forget about venom encrusted weapons. So suddenly you're going 3-5, 4-5. He can start pulling well above his weight if you leave him alone. Now the hard part's going to be keeping him alive. But if you can play him right and get the people to intercept for him, suddenly he's going to do some work for you.
You're talking a strength blessing too, right? For 15 points because he's less than 22 wounds. He goes to 3-6, 3-4. Then you just put a bunch of grots around him, and it's like, oh, you get within 2 inches of me. Like, yeah, man, you're gonna just take 9, 12 damage at a time. Ugh.
He's working off those extra actions for sure.
He's working off a Cruel Boys Monster Killers profile, right? The 315, and we've seen that it's capable to work if you have the offensive output and you know how to time it. Not only does he get to play in a team that gives him reactions for free attacks, he has that double that like it's a niche double, but like any team like Claws or Wilder Core, anything that innately wants to get away, or you just tie up a bunch of little boys that are like rots, whatever they might be, that need to get out if they want to make that live next turn or whatever it might be, or you time walk them, essentially keep them in spot for a bit, you lock them down. I think he's pretty exciting. Venom encrusted weapons makes him a 4-5 for a 130 point model is pretty wild. So it's a good one to focus fire down first. I mean, it's an absolute beast of a model. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, he's got mad play for sure. And then you got Jags the Bleeda, which, again, all the argumentation back over the double. I don't know if I'd be messing around with him overly too much till I get a better idea of like what GW actually planned for him. But again, for 90 points, he's got that T4. He's got 15 wounds, 4 attacks with a crit of 5. Yeah, he's going strength 3, 1-5 profile. You're crit fishing, but I mean, 4 dice is plenty to crit fish with at the same time. So if he gets stuck into something, double attacking, you're going to do a little bit of work with him. So he's not bad. He's probably my least favorite out of the 4. But
Cunning Trap makes all these guys just crazy though in the right context, right?
Right.
Because like 1-5 doesn't seem great, but if you're attacking 12 dice, like should hit something.
It's a Whisper Blade profile for 10 more points. But you get venom encrusted weapons, so you can still go up to 2-6. And you still get his double that pretty much says if I get 1 crit, I'm rolling 5 dice, and I'm gonna realistically hit you for probably 8 instead of 5 if I crit once. So I mean that's not bad, dude. These guys all want to pick on lower things though. Like look at how they play. They just want to bully.
there's a stupid combo that I accidentally discovered when I was looking through the Warcry lists over
was
the weekend.
Was it Brugit? Was it Brugit Jags the Bleeder?
Oh yeah, dude, Brugit about no. It was somebody was bringing Headraka and brought one of Headraka's friends, and I thought it was Jags because it was like another like you stab them good like kind of name.
Tooth-dagger.
The claw was it Tooth-dagger?
But the list had Headraka, who's got the triple to basically go everything that targets this thing gets +3 crit. And it's this isn't a good combo, it's just a fun combo. You can target something big, everything that hits it gets +3 crits. Stick Jags in there, and then he's doing what 8? He's critting for what 8 damage, and so he's rolling 8 dice after that. I was like, it's a fun double triple combo if you want.
Then he venom encrusted weapons for 9 crit.
2/9. Yeah, that's a sick profile.
No, he has to. He has to leave you bleeding with an ability.
With
so
a double AM.
Yeah, he can't do. I guess actually, if it's at the end of the round, you might be able to do that. No. Wait, venom encrusted on the second one. You better rolling more dice. Again, don't play it. It's not a good combo. It's just I accidentally discovered it by misreading something.
But when it works,
I've played worse.
Oh yeah, when it's blasted. When it blasts, it blasts.
So then we go down to the last guy, which is Herc the Howler, which super exciting because look at this guy. What a champ.
My bro, he looks like a frat boy just taking like beer bong right to the face.
That's the conversion. That's the conversion right
there.
That's
the conversion is frat boy, cruel boys.
Brugit is pouring beer in there for him, and he's just going.
Man.
All I'm saying is, like, I've seen Howler models, and this guy does not look like a monkey. I don't understand.
Well, let me explain it to you.
He's from Herkta, not the Gnarlwood.
Oh, okay.
That's sorry, Peter. We're cutting off Peter here.
No, I saw you already jumping in, Rob. You can take this one. It's okay. It's okay. You can have it. Get in there. Get in there, man.
Let's just make it simple. It's a gut ripper with a better ability for the same points. There's no reason to never take it. It shall be a permanent replacement, and it has a tuba.
Or a beer bomb, whichever. Yeah,
or beer bomb. Yeah, dude. If we're about to go Alpha Theta Kragnos Kai,
I kind of want to see kind of want to see someone put glasses on him and just do like Epic Sax guy a little bit,
Nice. Oh yeah. So Pete, you bring.
Overall, I'm very excited.
Yeah, it's just
the warband I'm currently. Yeah, I mean that's what it comes down to. What I'm messing around with right now is I like using the horn as kind of like how many mid profiles can I shove into a warband for that kind of stuff.
He helps. Yeah, I mean he helps like the gut.
So I'm currently hard boy boss help.
We got Pete on delay again. Sorry, Pete.
Fellwater Trogoth. I'm gonna throw that in there, and then actually make it a Gloomspite Gitz, and take a Cave Shaman plus 2 Gabapalooza in there, and that just rounds it out right up.
That's a brand new soup. Which soup did you find that one in? Was that Grandma's recipe?
Yeah, that's right.
I like that. That's really.
Peter. There you go, Peter. That's a spicy, fun list that I think has a little bit of play right there. I think that's awesome, Pete. All right, Pete, your 4 minutes are up.
Yeah, I bet you do.
Yeah.
Move side.
No, Pete, that was succinct.
I assume just Pete puts a cardboard cutout up at this point and just pretends to be here.
Once he just leaves, he's like, "Fuck you guys."
No,
I'm just gonna go take a nap now.
We had you on delay again. You got staggered with the internet, and it was like, you know how it goes.
That's typical when I start talking. Yeah, that's about what
the best part is like you were struggling to get it.
Right. Shh, Pete, hold on a sec.
Pete, wait for yourself.
That's you want to do
right.
So let's do let's jump into order real quick.
Yeah, I'll go quick.
Yeah,
I got it, man. I'll go fast.
So we ended up on a shorter one. Which one? Razors.
Let's get through razors.
Okay.
Death was just so long to talk about that first warband. Sorry,
Peter. Yeah, Kyle was really stroking those profiles.
We're like, hey, let's try to get this done in an hour 30 tonight. We're at 50 minutes, and Kyle's started.
We're halfway through.
What a mistake! I was like, yeah, let's do the Kyle. Congratulate him on doing well, and then all of a sudden he's like, and the zombies profile that are really good because they're creepy crawlies. All right. We're going to talk about Cyreni's Razors. Let's go at a pretty moderate pace here. I think the Inkjet reaction is absolutely wild. A fighter can make this reaction after a targeted by a melee attack, but before hit rolls are made. For each hit roll that misses, after that attack action is resolved, you move your squid boy. You're bopping around 2 inches around the place, right? In addition, if everything misses, they just blank out. The turn's done. They just get inked. That's awesome.
Oh, no, I inked.
Yeah.
I think
I'm gonna ink. I think I'm gonna ink.
When we're waiting for this profile, it's like it better have some kind of ink ability. It better have something to do with disengaging and stuff. And it's weird because it's not a disengage and it's not a move action. You just move the model 2 inches. You just move outside of that.
See you later. Mm-hmm. You just move around. It's a really, really awesome thematic, but pretty powerful reaction for it. But the cool part is they also get access to Fade from Memories, which we'll go over shortly. So go down to Hurl Lamari.
Do you want to do that one? Because that's just a regular reaction for.
Yeah, we might as well do it because nobody knows what Idanet Deep can do anyway. So because the only thing you're doing is Storm of Blows on a goddamn king.
And so Fade from Memory, the extra move. You can't forget that
one. Yeah, I'll think about it. So pretty much. Fade from Memory. I love reactions. Anybody who listens to me blather on about reaction control, all the lists I play, this is a really awesome reaction in a very undertuned warband. But now you have access to it through 2 good underworld warbands. A fighter can make this reaction when enemy fighter finishes a move within 3, just like the Cruel Boys. If there's another boy, so if your boy's in front and the one behind reacts, and they're visible to the enemy fighter within range of one of their melee weapons for the rest of the battle round, that enemy fighter cannot target this fighter, which is kind of wild because you just blank out an attack and you're just like, oh, you're not there, you're gone. So it's a good way, and it's not faction locked, so it's a good way to kind of keep control and pace. I believe that's correct, right? I didn't read that wrong, and I'm just blowing smoke.
What's the I'm trying to remember. I haven't read it in so long, and honestly, Rob, I was tuned out. I was just waiting for more death talk.
Go down, just scroll down. That's fine. Fade from Memories.
The best way to describe it is I got my friend next to me. Some guy moves up. I'm like, hey, look at that guy over there. And then I'll disappear. It's how that reaction works. So it protects yourself by forcing them to try to attack someone else.
You just
if you're grouped together. Yeah.
I like that that's how that works. It turns your opponent into those new Stormcasts that are just like, where am I? What am I doing?
That's exactly what it does.
It's a pretty cool reaction.
Short-term dementia.
It's got its own play for it if you want to do it to just fade out and just do something else. But go down to Hurl Lamari Blade. I just think it's always worth keeping those things in consideration because there's always going to be a circumstance that comes up. Mm-hmm. Add value of this ability to range attack characteristics of next melee attack action made by them. Everybody here has 2 and 3 inch range for some reason because they have spears, which is cool. After the action, the fighter cannot make melee attack actions for the rest of the activation. So you're pretty much just doing it to go move and then heave it real far and then just kind of play a guerrilla warfare type, just hit and run. Hammer Tide is the triple. I think Hammer Tide is low key really dope. It's kind of tough to get off of. You have to maneuver. When you do get it off, it's going to be backbreaking. You pretty much say pick a corner of the battlefield, draw a straight line, 1 millimeter line between. Basically, just draw a line to the corner or whatever corner you choose. Enemy fighters whose bases touch that line cannot jump, fly, or climb until end of battle. So if they're in terrain dense, they're if they're on a platform, they can't jump off, they can't climb down, they can't fly. They're kind of just stuck in wallowing in its control tool.
Just
also
enjoying the
yeah. I'll see you next turn. All right. In addition, you roll a number of dice equal to the value of the ability for each fighter, and then you allocate 1 for each 3 up. So it's a little bit of a burn spell.
Do you know one of the reasons I like this ability so much, by the way?
Is it like death?
No, because chimeras are so big and they have to fly over terrain, and you just basically net them
anywhere
on the map on a triple. You're like, bam, you can't fly anywhere now. Good luck maneuvering your massive base through this terrain.
That is true. That is very true, Kyle. I didn't even think of that. That's really good.
I really enjoy that in Kyle's head. He's like, I play scum list. Somebody else is playing a scum list that I'm playing again.
But
who else
it gets
has
crazy.
No friends.
Because like if you position right, you could hit multiple people, right? So if you hit 3 targets on 6s, you can do up to 18 damage. If deployments are messed up in the slightest bit and you're able to tangle this through them, you can lock an entire deployment down from halfway across the map, which is crazy if you can get it lined up correctly. Not only lock them down, but it's a net that does damage at infinite range. That's crazy. That's good.
Not so much a net, just the control piece, right? Because you're not saying you can't move. You can move. You're just restricted on it. So you gotta be careful on that. But here's the thing, though, and like now that you mentioned the Chimera thing, because I don't want to spend too long on this, right? Because I got Brotherhood of the Mummies coming up. Just snagging one model, like their Annie Prime that needs to get somewhere, and that's got a Calthea triple lined up. All of a sudden, that dude's playing Pac-Man to get to you, and it's just way less effective. And you're putting burn on it. It's not the worst. It's honestly, and she has 5-inch moves, so she's able to kind of position herself pretty freely to a corner. That's my corner. And it's not bad. The quad, which we tested, Crushing Wrap, is the squid can use. So the squid gets the new reaction and a quad, which is dope. Fighter can only use this ability before making.
I thought it was Crushing Warp, and I was like, why does a squid get a warp thing?
It's Crushing, it's Crushing Wrap. They're inspired with like the octopus and some elf girl.
They're freestyling.
You might have seen that video. It's on it's a couple.
A lot of drippy tentacles I heard in that one.
Anyway,
a fighter can only use this ability before it would make a melee attack action. You roll 8 dice, because who does not love rolling 8 dice? You switch to playing Age of Sigmar for a second. For each roll of 3+, you add 1 to its strength characteristic, and then add 2 damage to the target of that attack action.
Pete's freaking out about it.
So, dude.
Oh, no. Pete, you froze for a second.
Pete just flipped this table. So not only do you get burn put on it, you pump your strength, and you're able to just swing. Now you swing 2 attacks. You're swinging 16 dice. Probably add a roll of 3 up. Statistically, what you're going to make 5 of those, right?
Yep.
You're going to make 5 of those. So then your strength goes up to.
It should be 6.
5 or 6, right? Yeah. So you're going up to S6, 7, right? Or like whatever. Oh no, it's going up even further than that, like 8, 9, and then you're just I can't math. And then it's just you're just gonna swing dice and hit things. Yeah, it's like the 1-2 profile in him, right? But you're still doing 2 points of damage and burning, and then still dumping a ton of dice. That's gonna matter. It's just super sick though. And if you kill it, then melee attack action has no extra effect. It's whatever. Scroll down through the profiles.
Out, right? Like we
said
before in other shows, any armor piercing ability is good, because you just ignore an entire part of the game, which is awesome.
So we see here Cyreni 200. It's kind of expensive for a leader. We look at it other price points like Calthea. We compare it to Tong Father's almost up there. We got a whole bunch of things at 200, right? And you're kind of Annie Prime. Why would I take her over the Annie Prime, right? Well, one, she's not 3 inches. She does a completely different job. So let's not be like, where's the most point efficient value? It's not there. You are getting the Lorelei attack profile for 3/7, 3/3, 3/7. You're going to throw a couple 6s and it's going to deal 14 damage to somebody, and they're going to be like, oh, elf time, right? And she's got her tentacle boy with her, 5/3, 20. She's moving quick. You keep her out of range. You keep her at distance. You slow things down with that triple. You shoot things.
And I'll say this too, like what you were saying earlier before, Rob. Like normally you're like scared of like, wow, 3/3, 3/7. You're gonna blow stuff up, so your opponent's gonna charge it. Keep her near somebody, fade from memory. They're not gonna be able to burn her down like they want to. And they're gonna waste an entire turn trying to do it, which really makes that 3 toughness not as bad as you think it is.
In narrative, that's gonna be a blast when you got free renown. You're just doing that anytime somebody's coming.
Yeah, that's sick as hell. Oh man, Stephanie with the extra renown is just gonna go wild, dude. That's super cool, dude.
I'm so excited for this model.
Stephanier, 120 points, beast, 5-inch move, 4 toughness, 18 wounds, great stat line, 1-inch range, 8 attacks, 3 strength, 1/2. I mean, you're just throwing dice.
This feels like old spiders. Like it feels like 1.0 spiders.
It does feel like 1.0 spiders with an excellent reaction and. Also
a fairly pointed spiders. The way they should have been done.
It works with the
40 points.
It works with the Vulcan Flame Seekers, where you could whip this thing so it goes move, attack. So you're getting 10 move, and then you're throwing 8 dice for a triple. Pretty great, and it's not bad stats.
they've been waiting for
that because Doing Claw was not the answer, right? And neither was the Magma Dog. Like
exactly.
It's the answer.
It's hard to make it work because you're bringing 320 into a warband that already is like a bunch of 100-point profiles. So like it's a bit clunky to make them fit, but it's just, I mean, you're getting all the value out of that triple at that point. And it's such a cool idea.
But you're getting ranged attacks from Cyreni. You're getting Hammer Tide as an alternate triple to kind of slow people down, which Flame Seekers are slow, so they'll be able to slow your opponent really good.
Right.
And then you got this Octopus to whip, which is really great. And the Octopus,
awesome.
like, it takes blessings really well. Like for 10 points, it goes to 1/3, right?
Right.
That's crazy when you're rolling 8 dice and you go to 1/3.
I don't think you bring it without blessing the crit, right? I think if you bring it,
I
think you bless the crit. It's just too good to not, right? Like you can bless the damage, so it's like 2/2, like that's whatever. But I think you go 1/3. I think that's like you shave 10 points right there. It's just safer.
Well, you're maximizing.
You're gonna throw some 6. Yeah. Go down. You have I'm gonna do the next two together. I'm just trying to get through these guys because they're not super spicy, other than the leader and the squid. Alathir and Renglaith, 110, 105. Again, we see like the 5/4 is pretty sweet for that, but like the 10 HP is such a turnoff. You have the 2-inch, 1-inch, 2-inch, 3-inch. They all got like 4 crit, all got 4 strength, 3 and 4 attack profile, 3 and 2. They really want you to utilize the double so they can go like, oh, you have a double 4, add 4 to the. So I'm running 5, throwing 6 inches. Hopefully I'm critting you with 3 and then doing some damage and then running away and doing it again and like trying to keep them like with this real mobile like elf command. It's interesting. I don't know how effective it is. Like I want to play with them just because they're super sweet looking. They're only 105, 110 points. It's just the wounds that kill me. Like spending 10, I wouldn't spend 10 wounds on a Prey Taker from under Untamed Beast when it was like 110 points. Why would I spend it on this, even though it's got better move and it has the cool range ability? But if I'm using doubles on that, I'm not using it elsewhere to more efficiency, which is like another problem. But
what I like about that double combined with them and their which almost strange attack profiles, it's kind of like a big brain warband in the sense of like, how can I maximize my damage? Because like you look at Alathir, 4-4-1-4 on the 1-inch attack, right? They're like, well, the 2-inch attack I could stay out safe at 3-4-1-4. Well, you can go, all right, I'm going to attack you at 2 inches and then use a double 1, which you might not use for anything else. And then all of a sudden I can go 4-4-1-4, right? If I want to get that extra inch of range. Or like
it's cool until something that just like something like Rip It Out comes along and it's just like you're dead. Like I threw 2 hits and like a double 6. That's like why I'm so worried on them.
IDK, right? They didn't fix the troubles that they already had where they're so expensive. They're
they didn't
so
fix
frail,
the troubles in elves, right?
But I agree though, Kyle. Like you've got if you're playing them, like you've got to be very careful.
Right.
But when you're actually using them, you do have opportunities to really play.
Right.
Like, you're not just going, I'm playing. I'm not thinking. I go, no, let me make a selection based on what I think is good. And did that double? It just does it let you attack with the other profile if you use it? Is that why they have 2?
It's either profile can be upgraded by those number of inches, right?
Right, but then you can't make another melee attack after.
It's full melee. Okay, so you attack and then you double attack and then you use the double at the end of the activation so that you get 3 attacks out of it?
No, it would just extend the second one.
You extend it, right?
Gotcha. Okay.
So my point is, like, you could try to, like, for example, the 3-inch is only 2 dice being rolled for 4-2-4. So, like, you could attack at 3, but then say, like, well, maybe I want more dice, try to fish for that crit. You could add to that, as Rob mentioned earlier, like, being able to move and then turn that 3 inches into potentially 9 inches. That's a huge difference in your attack range and your threat range, what you can put on the board.
So it's a lot of circles though for something that's very underwhelming. And while I think like what you're saying is absolutely 1000% correct of where it is this big brain playing, you're really moving and running. We're not in the state where Zondara's Gravebreakers just on a double moves half their team, and these guys are like, but on a double I could hit you for 1-4, like at 6 inches, but then I can't attack again. So like it is 100% really cool, and like they're super sweet models, and anybody wants to run them, play them. Tell me if I'm absolutely dead wrong, but I don't want to get too in depth on these guys because they're just like the grunts of that. We already covered the juicy squid bits and the lovely lady running, so I think that's dope with them.
Real quick, this guy, just paint him up. Fade Harkonnen, right? He's got that. He's got big Dune vibes going on.
Yeah, it's true. They're really cool, and it's nice to see Ideneth take a step forward. At least this is a step forward for Ideneth. But when the bar is at your foot, like it's not really a hard thing to raise.
I'm bummed
but
they
the
didn't
leader,
do a-
I think you're to see Cyreni as an ally. I really think you are.
Cyreni and
I don't see
the
him-
squid are absolutely great allies for anybody who wants like a really cool tech control piece. Like you said, if I'm going to a tournament and they're like, yeah, you could totally bring Chimera, and someone's like, huh, 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 and then you just blast it, and they're like, they can't move for the rest of the turn. They're 3 actions.
And then he gets to
they
throw
can't
6
land
ranged
anywhere.
attacks on it and start trying to bracket it, not range. Like, oh,
Yeah,
it's gonna
then
feel
you're just-
so good.
Oh, dude, it's gonna.
So this
you're
is
gonna move.
this is the new anti-chimera tech. You got to run Cyreni's razors. This is how you beat chimeras. Turns out
The world has come. If the world comes full circle and it's like the finals is like Cyreni's razors versus a chimera, and it just stymies the chimera, it gets double bracketed, and then they just. I would.
IDK top tabling, winning a tournament. I'm all about it, man. I would love to see it.
I would give that gentleman so many kisses on the cheek, or lady, shake her hand, give her a salute. Yeah, let's go to my boys. Let's go to Shock Mummies.
Real quick with these guys, the nice thing they do is they make you more playable within IDK because you know there's so many rough profiles,
Absolutely.
but putting these guys with Elephane Soul Raid, I think you're getting closer to a playable warband if you put them all together, which is exciting.
I think they're also really trying to explore like the Elf Mage profile, having the extra attack.
Yeah, you saw that.
Because you see Zondara having 2 attacks versus the elf having 3, both being wizards. Not that Zondara needs it, but showing like elves are consistently getting 1 extra range attack. And I'm sorry, Rob, Lorelei also got the same thing.
Yes, from Black Talons. But let's go. We're behind.
We're going breath. We're good.
So if anyone plays Magic and you've heard of Bolt the Bird, this warband is for you.
Pater Philius.
Sorry, we'll do these real quick, Rob.
Oh yeah, Ultimate Resistor is Unfeeling Flesh. That's all it is, and that's honestly super disgusting on a Cities of Sigmar thing because let's be real about this. They are in faction for cities. They can borrow from Bulwark, Runemark, and Elite Runemark to reflect damage or increase toughness. So they could go, I borrow from Bulwark, I go up to T4, and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna attack again. You go Unfeeling Flesh it. So now it's just you're tougher and you're more resistant to damage. Their profiles are a little bit more pricey flagellants. We'll see that in a second. But having Unfeeling Flesh is not bad on anything. It is just a great reaction to have. And it makes you have a concernable, tanky, pseudo-tanky thing. You saw it on zombies. You see it on Nurgles, demons. You see it on a lot of things that are just really good with it. Thunderous Blast. We're talking about burn. Kyle convinced me on this. It was really weird because Kyle's really good with death, but had no fucking clue what the feck was going to do. And I'm good with cities, and I had no clue what this did. And we're just both telling each other, by the way, you just do this. And we're both like, oh, good point. Like it's both of us going for like 10 minutes at each other, and then all of a sudden we just figured out how to play it for our factions.
And then you guys traded, and you're like, "Oh no, we do want our normal factions that we play." Okay,
right. I don't want to go over there, so just give me the cliff notes. But like in the same sense, like that's why we're on a team, right? We grow and share ideas. Thunderous Blast. You pick a visible enemy within 3 inches of this fighter. Pretty sizable. You know, it's elf range apparently, right? And you roll 3 dice. For each roll 3 up, you allocate a number of damage equal half the ability rounding up. So 1, 2, or 3 damage, right? Pretty cool. That seems like a really good burn spell. You can do 9 damage to something, right? But the cool part is you could pick another enemy fighter, or pick an enemy fighter 3 inches of another visible friendly fighter who has this. If you're within 6 of them, so you can charge. They can activate, go attack, do whatever, or Unfeeling Flesh, and then they're stuck there. And all of a sudden you're like, by the way, burn that guy. And it allows you to hit an attack from different angles, and it gives you even more things to think about from a city's perspective, which is just wild to me, and it's a lot of fun.
I gotta say this too, and the reason I like this ability and why I talk to you so much about it is it lets you control who is activating when, right? Because say you do want to burn somebody, but you want to keep that Unfeeling Flesh open, you want to keep counter open. So long as my buddy's 6 inches behind me, I could sit there, have my counter available, have Unfeeling Flesh available, knowing that him behind me is going to chain this bolt through me.
It gives you what's called sequence forgiveness, right? So I'm allowed to go out of sequence and still punish you for being that way. I can activate and then chain and then hit you and completely go off what you thought I was going to do. And it lets me play around you and it lets me play more freely. And that's the best part about it. And then also, again, it's just straight burn damage. It doesn't care about your toughness. You got to roll some dice. You're always rolling 3 dice, which is sick.
I do have to say this, by the way, like what other model is 85 points and has a double burn spell that could hit you for 9 damage? That's crazy, right? Like just 85 points, bam, 9 armor piercing damage, right? Like yeah, it's better than Crackling Arcs in my opinion.
It is. It's more consistent.
That took a lot for you to say that out loud.
It hurt. It hurt.
Better
I am crying a little bit.
Wow, real growth today.
Right. So Crackling Arcs is also like it matters the body's positioned in there. You have to roll the 4-ups. Yes, the damage can be higher, but there's a lot more that goes into it. Where this is just roll dice, 3 dice all the time, static 3 dice. You can be 9 inches away from a target and still burn it down, which is kind of sick.
And mathematically, that's 6 damage if you have double 6 or double 5s on average, right? You should make 2 of those 3 almost every time.
Furious Abandon. This fighter it's a rampage. It is a non-conditional rampage on a triple. Again, Kyle was like, they have a triple. That's a rampage. And I'm like, yeah, but why would I want to use it? None of them are hitting like any primes. And then I was like, oh no, wait, this is just a rampage on a triple. It's not conditional. It's absolutely as cracked as it sounds. It's absolutely wild. You'll see a couple profiles down there, very worthy of using it. And then Quad Unleash,
where they can go further, right? They can, if you've got a 6, they can move that 6 as well.
Yeah, it's the new rampage. So you got a triple 6, which is not hard to get, right? Getting a triple anything is just way more accessible.
Right,
it's just
double
super
6
easy.
turns into triple 6, which turns into rampage 6. It's nuts.
And I have I'm swarmed with a blessing of like, cities really didn't have much to do with dice unless you allied in. So then being like bringing these guys in, you all of a sudden have access to excellent doubles and triples for when your herald is inevitably going to die because people are like, I don't want you to move these because these guys get moved by herald.
Where you are.
These guys get pulled by flag as well, which is bananas, right? So it's so hard to anticipate and predict the threat range that they have because all of a sudden, he's stuck there, move. Fury. So we did a Fury. Unleashing his Fury. You make a daisy chain, you activate all the way from the back and go around the daisy chain. They got to be within 6 of them, so get creative with your lattice work. And you add 1 to the attack strength and damage characteristics, hit and crit of the weapon. For each fighter in the chain, you pretty much make a bonus ranged attack. So make sure you're planning it for someone to shoot that's not engaged, but you could still go through the chain with somebody engaged. You could pretty much just hit like with 6, like all 5 of them. You go up to you'll see their range profiles are 1, 1, 1, 2. You'll go up to with all 5 of them, you'll go up to 6, 6, 6, 7. Yeah, 6, 7, which is bananas. That is on a ranged attack for 3, 7, like wild. And you're gonna see it because like when I first saw these guys, I was stoked, but then I was like, look at these profiles, they're doo-doos. But go down, we'll go through it.
It's like the Prism Tower and Riddler chaining through each other.
Yeah,
and I just think like it's just crazy. Just like once again, rewarding you. The more you bring, the stronger this gets.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, so we have Pater Filius, which is father son, and Peter, correct me. I was like, we've got called father son. It's the dude riding his son, so it makes complete sense. These guys also got.
Son, by the way.
Yeah, Peter was like, "You, what's up?"
It's an adopted son. It's not his.
It's an adopted son too. Right. But it's still father son.
It's very Hodor.
It's so great. You got to read their lore for it. Very, very, very mediocre stats, right? It's 4.
Do you ever want to play 2 guys in a trench coat? Here you go.
This is exactly it, right? I'm gonna paint the guy's head all burned and shit. It's gonna be great. Pretty much he's 150 for a stat block to sit there and go, hey, unfeeling flesh, or hey, I'm gonna throw some dice that are really bad out of ghoul and maybe kill it. Or hey, I'm just an extender for the burn ability. It's still like 25 wounds on sitting there and being like, I'm tying you up to unfeeling flesh is enough to really aggravate somebody. And then at the end of the day, still be there for the quad, still be there for the double. Pretty excellent for 150. He's wildly deceiving. And again, pulled by flag. That's already
the tax to bring him in and not get like a triple rampage on a really good body, right?
Yeah.
You could bring him in, still get a really good burn spell out of him if you want, but you're not going to be also getting like an amazing just mess you up triple, because then it'd be in every warband for 150. If even if he was like
Right,
4,
you can't.
5,
You have
3,
to
4,
stymie them.
everyone would be
But
running
these
it.
guys are dice hungry, so you don't want to bring them into something that needs a lot of dice. So you have to be very careful about it. We made I'll discuss it at the end of what Kyle and I cooked up. I think I cooked up a list, and Mike told me that he hated it and made him sick. So go down.
I mean, I don't remember which list it was, but I stand by it.
Yeah,
a
Friar
lot
Galvik.
Of Rob's lists make Mike sick, so it makes
not as bad as Kyle's. Usually, Kyle tells the list, they go, "I'm muting this channel. I don't need to see it."
Mike had to come back from the brink of the world after Zondara's grave. We don't need to go there again.
I'm still not that far away from
about
it.
the
Friar Galvik and Soror Tazit are your 2 rampage targets for what they want. One's throwing 5-3-2-3. Please don't swing him into somebody who could counter him. Do it when they're not. Look at that face, dude.
That's Rob at the table.
But that's just crazy. Like 15, like I mean, on triple, you get to move in 15 and then dice, swing 15 dice at somebody. Like for a 100-point model, like holy crap.
Right. The real money of it is Friar Galvik having the same melee stats minus the range as a Runefather 4-4-2-4. 4-4-18 for 100 points. Again, that stupid range profile we see. What's up?
We said 140, right? 140 points.
He's under 40 points. The Runefather's 150, right? So we're getting 4-4, and he's not a hero, right? So again, we're seeing this like bring your boys because we're making it incentive to keep all of this group together. You see the 3-7-1-1-1-2. It's only served to say, hey, this is a filler for till you get your quad if you want to do it that way. But the 4-4-2-4 being able to rampage on a triple is not anything to scoff at. Like you rampage up, and then all of a sudden, I think I played against Kyle where I rampaged like on turn 2, right? I just killed two crypt guards, right? And I was just like, okay, see you later, guys. Like,
it's deleted 20 points of models. And just for that game too, like he's under 22 points, 15 points on him to make him 155.
Yeah,
puts him at 4-5-2-4, and all of a sudden he's super scary at that point.
Yeah, he makes a lot of good things. And again, like worst case scenario, we're unfeeling flesh or ultimate resistor or whatever you want to call it, and then we're also sitting there being like, you could burn through me at the target. Again, everybody has a use even when they've activated, and I love that. And guess what? Gets pulled by flag. So continue.
And guess what? Everyone gets the bolt.
Right. Everyone gets the bolt too.
He's a cheap stat block for 140, and he's got great abilities, and he's not a leader. So I mean, you're checking multiple boxes with him. He's a great piece.
Yep.
And so his lore is awesome. He gets burnt by lightning, and he just wants to keep fighting because one day he thinks he'll be a Stormcast Eternal. Like, okay, sure, sign that guy up. He's in there.
You guys might have the best lore they've ever done.
Dude, the lore is insane.
So good.
The lore is insane. Also, like it's just a cool take on flagellants, like in the cults of Sigmar, instead of it being like I'm a cool city guy. Keep in mind these guys all take reactions from cities too. Bulwark and Elite Rune Mark still affect these guys, so they don't have to unfeeling flesh. They could just he could straight up just go up to T5 and then reflect 2 back to you. So good luck with it. Good luck figuring all these things out. Soror Tazit 5-3-2-3-105. It's pretty good. 12 wounds, a little flimsy, but it's still more than the elves. Go down.
It's brutal.
It's brutal, dude. Acolyte Arcus was a farmer that got hit by lightning, and he's like, I saw God, and that's it. And they put him in there. 2-inch range, 3 attack, 4 strength, 1-3, whatever. He's gonna swing at some dudes. Guess what? He's unfeeling fleshing. He's reacting. He's gonna be a bolt generator. Cool. Put him in the way. These guys look like mummies. And Scorched Jacob was a criminal that they just couldn't electrocute him to death. So they're like, you know what? Fuck it. Throw him with the boys. He's with us now because he's God now. Because
literally, if you can't beat him, join him. Right? If you can't kill him with electricity,
if you can't execute him, use him.
Just 85 points for 5 attacks, so you could take the triple really well. He's still got the bolt ability. Just so much value at 85 points.
Yeah, we're 1-2 on a poopy profile. If you have the 10 points, you want to put him to 1-3. I think that's like a really good lesson served. But again, like we're reacting with unfeeling flesh. We're serving as a bolt generator. We're just kind of like inoculate, like little just roadblocks for people. So the one list we were thinking of is like throwing like 3 or 4 of these guys in a Wilder Core list with an Arbalister, 4 dogs, and the leader. So then you pretty much just burn anything down. You just double out people, and then you just send dogs on stuff to finish it off, and then you just Arbalister anything that comes near you, and you stay alive with Resistor. Like it just seems like a lot of fun to play, or even just putting them in with my cities lists, like just making a cities list based around them, where you're just like, well, I'm just gonna throw and whip stuff at you, and then just have a ogre or send my pony with them to make them even better. Like there's just a lot of cool things you can do, and they really open up a really cool design avenue for people who really want to just be like, well, how much can I push the boundaries of attacking from different angles and being like, oh cool, you're engaged, burn that guy, move up here, hit that guy, and then guess what, this guy's still alive, I could come up, move up somebody else, burn that guy that was just hit, and move around. So like the anticipation of it's harder to play around with. And again, I think it's just a really, really, really cool take on cities. I'm really high on this warband. I wasn't, and then Kyle and I kind of talked it out. Just like same thing with like Grisla, we talked it out.
Rob saw Sigmar. The lightning hit him. And he was like, "Oh, I get it now."
But the reason I looked at this, I'm like, so I got a guy within 3 inches. I used a double 6. I burned him for 9. I got a friend 6 inches away. I used double 5. I burned him for 9. So 18 damage to a Stormcast Eternal. I don't care that your team.
They would never.
Who cares?
They would never do it to a Stormcast, Kyle. You're not allowed to.
Yeah, dude, I don't even know what you're talking about.
This is big Sigmar mad. Are you kidding me?
We're just charging him up. If we just charge him up till he explodes, it's not my fault.
He's getting real powerful.
Now listen,
we turned him into lightning.
Listen, the only complaint I have is that they didn't have alternative heads for these guys, because I really wanted Marv from Home Alone 2 when he was getting electrocuted. With the skeleton head and the hair, that's what I really wanted.
Bandits, baby.
The web, sticky bandits. Man,
the models are so good though. They're it's really hard.
Way better in person too. I put them together and I was like, holy cow, these are actually, they all have wooden clogs, so they don't disperse their electricity in the ground.
Yeah, don't waste it. You don't want to go.
Yeah, not waste it. Daddy's riding that beat, son. You can't disperse his energy in the ground. Yeah, dude. Order's feasting, man. Order and Death are feasting really good. I think everybody here, even like Destruction, just gets like, have some good options for you, son. And we're gonna go to Chaos, and I think all of us.
This one terrifies me.
All of us in Chaos. I'm not a Chaos player. I am not a Chaos player, but this has got me wanting, like, it got me slobbering. I got my jowls loose for this.
Got you ready to pledge to one of the gods.
I mean, he's bringing it this upcoming weekend, so I had to change something in his heart.
I actually went out and got like I had a dread pageant, and I was like, let's just make Sibrites even better by adding these in. Go, Michael.
I was gonna say, Pete, you got any stuff on the Brethren real quick?
No, not really. I mean, I think Rob covered it really well. I think it just creates a lot more chess pieces for you to be able to do those daisy chain abilities and just pull off some really cool moves. And I mean, who doesn't like pulling off really cool moves that your opponent doesn't expect? So they'll absolutely have play. Just every one of these war bands has some very unique play to them, and it just gets me excited for it, because there's a lot of building you can there. Yeah.
I think
Thricefold Discord. Let's do it.
Yeah, I was talking to someone the other day on the weekend, and they had a job posting a year and a half ago or something like that to have somebody do Warcry and Underworlds, and we've seen I think it's Johnny that we've seen doing it, and ever since then the Underworlds profiles have been so thematic. I mean, they're already thematic, right? But they're so just unctuous. They're dripping with this delightful character and stuff like that. And now we're starting to see all of those rules completely transfer over into Warcry, and it's incredible. Like, they play just like they do in Underworlds, but in Warcry as well. It's just so satisfying, and it makes you want to buy them even more than, for me, I buy them anyway, good, bad, or otherwise. But like, now I'm like, I don't feel bad about this purchase now.
Underworlds objectively has some of the best Age of Sigmar models out there. Just so much flavor.
Yeah, some tasty stuff. All right, Let me jump into these lads. So Thricefold Discord, 3 Slaanesh demons who hate each other's guts, essentially, want to see each other fail. That is represented with this delightful reaction called Triumphant Tittering. Essentially what it is it's a reaction, but it's free. It's always free. You are never using an action to use it. The caveat with that is that you can only ever use it if one of the other models is slain. So we'll look at them. All of them are heroes, so you can only ever ally 2 of them into a warband. But if you're hanging out in Demons of Slaanesh, this is a great jumping off point. All of these guys are fantastic, and you're going to get 2 free move or attack actions if and when your frenemies die during the game. So super powerful, as we'll see. They've got very different style of attacking, so it's always going to be useful. Pretty much, there's going to be a way to capitalize on that.
This design space does scare me. Like, I do feel like, as a new player, generally speaking, you see a model
what are you
that's
scared
activated.
of? You just recur your models.
When as activated and is done, you typically don't think they could do anything, and having to remember, like, hey, if I kill this guy, he gets free stuff, right? Like, I feel like there's be a lot of gotcha moments. It's gonna feel bad.
Yeah, and I mean, as someone who has played a ton of narrative, I'm less worried about it just because renown is a thing, right? You get these free reactions all the time. So, but I completely valid though, right? Like, it's putting you into your normal brain flow chart when you're like, oh, what do I have to think about? What am I paying attention to in the game? It does actually, well, we've got this little if then we go back up to the top and we cascade down again, right? Brand new Plinko for what's going on. So, but yeah, it's really cool. I think they did a good job with it of making sure it's not busted by going, again, literally the maximum you can ever do it is 2 times in a game. And if they're not within the Slaanesh demons, and you're only getting 1 time out of it. So each of them have their own ability here. So I can't remember. Vashtor, has Coiled Lash. Vastus, that's right. Has Coiled Lash until the end of the battle round. Essentially, you're just stopping them from disengaging if they're within 1. It's a pretty delicate fighter, so it's kind of, it's more utility than reliable, like what you're really going for. It does end up kicking out some damage, right? So at the end of the battle round, so once everything's happened, once they've tried to beat you down when you stop them from running away, activating late's obviously a great thing with this, so that you can kind of guarantee that damage and kind of be safe with it. You can allocate damage equal to half the value to everything within 1 inch of you. So, there's some pretty good damage potential here.
I do have to say this, Rob, you can say better than me. She also brings back a double that was only the Enrapturous in the past.
You wait your turn. Shut your mouth.
Stop jumping in, Kai. You're doing it everyone.
Minutes, Kai.
I'm saying Rob can speak to it better. It's on my mind because he kicked my ass with it the other night. So
so that's the main reason why we're taking this model, right? So where's it at up here? Where's the Mystic Rune mark? Right here. So this is one of the best debuffs that exists in the game, flat out. It's a double, and it is a 6-inch AoE -1 attack bubble. That exists in a couple of different places, namely places like Horns of Hashut has it on a triple with a model that is kind of expensive to bring in. If you ever want to, bring in as an ally, it's just expensive. It's not a great fighter and that kind of stuff. But this is just this model, again, we'll see it. It's 115 points for the ability to just pop this ability off. It's wild. It's such a great utility piece that Chaos just got access to, that it's going to start showing up in a lot of lists. And I think it's funny because it was like this, like, profile was the one that the fewest people were excited about seeing. They were just like, oh, we'll see the other 2. But yeah, I think it was the easiest one to overlook, but seeing how easy it is to get that ability, and now it's wild. So I can't remember all the names of them, but the one with all the swords has Bladed Blessing. So on a triple, another really, really powerful ability, makes a bonus melee action, and you're just taking 5 away from the toughness on that action. So 1, it's a triple for a bonus attack, which is always great. And then you're basically guaranteeing that you're going to be hitting on 3s, more or less. It's a strength 3 fighter. So really, really likes to have that the ability to just guarantee the hits. Last one here is a quad. This is in the game. This is one of the most very limited abilities. If you're playing Vexmore, which is the model that has this one, which is the chunky butterfly wings festival girl. It is, if you're blessing it like you should be, if you're playing it in all likelihood, this just doesn't feel worth a quad a lot of the time. It's great if you need to move and then attack and you're trying to clean something off, but it's just adding 2 attacks to the profile essentially for the next melee action.
I wouldn't talk it down. Once you see the stats, it makes a lot more sense. So,
but the difference between this, if again, we'll go over this. Yeah, let's jump into that because when it's a model that's only got 1 attack action, but that attack action is really good. It's a 10 strength. The only other time in the game I've seen this was with Vulcan Flame Seekers have a narrative item that they can get.
Throne axe.
Yep, and they got a 10 strength. They just said, well, what if we just have it? You can just have a 10 strength fighter profile now. So 2-inch range, which is really nice because you're sitting in a move 3, so you're kind of struggling, lumbering around. 1 attack, 10 strength, 5-10 damage. 5-10 damage is real good. Kills a lot of things. It's super risky on 1 dice. It's got 6 toughness and 25 wounds. So this is kind of a cool anvil piece that we haven't really seen this cheap in Chaos before. 6 toughness is fantastic. 25 wounds less so. But, you're really only worried about crits really blowing you up in a hurry with this one. They do have, all of them have the ability to, on a double, to add +3 to their next move action. So on the first action, you could potentially pop a double, go to 6 move. Again, this model loves getting blessed. It loves taking an extra attack blessing. So you go from 1 attack to 2 attacks. If you're ever just standing engaged, pop an onslaught, you're rolling 6 dice, 5-10 damage. That's 1 Chimera attack, literally, except stronger. You're guaranteed to hit everything on 3s more than a Chimera is. So really, 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 really good. And that's what I'm saying. The quad, I think the only time if you're blessing it, which again, most of the time you're going to be for 180 points, it doesn't have as much application unless you're able to move in within 5 inches, I guess, right? You get within that 2-inch attack range. Otherwise, you're almost always just better using onslaught if you're swinging twice, right?
I have to say, playing against this model, it's scary. It's a zone of control piece, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're essentially saying on a double, I have an 8-inch threat range that I could pop you for usually a minimum of about 10 damage, upwards to 20. So that means any 8-wound shaft, deleted, gone, can't stand anywhere near this thing, right? But this also goes back to the reaction. You have to be careful how close you are to this thing, because if you accidentally kill one of the other models, and then this thing just gets a free attack on you, it's just like, oh, whoops, I forgot, and you just slam me for another 20 damage. It's terrifying from that standpoint. You do not want to be anywhere near this model, and it will control the board space that it's in.
Yeah, so has the double just to move 3 on top of his first movement. So he's got a threat projection of 8. So he's sneaky fast for Fat Boy.
Yep. The other kind of cool thing that the other way I've been looking at this model is not blessing it for the attack and just looking at, okay, I've just spent 150 points for a tough 6, 25 wound fighter that still claps pretty hard. Defensively, that's fantastic. If you just need something to hang out, sit on a point, and just have you swing in, especially with the debuff that's coming on the other profile that they get in here, you're just not going to die most of the time. You're going to be sitting real pretty.
Like, why would you even want to fight it? That's the problem, right? I'm going to go into the guy that claps me for 5-10. No, I'm good. I'll stay away from that.
All right, use your first turn to charge this guy, get him into a spot where he wants to be, and then good luck. You have to come to me now.
Kyle kind of pointed out earlier too, he's going to control the space that he is on the board, right? And the thing is, that's usually what Titans are doing.
Yep.
And he's doing it, if blessed, at 180.
Yeah,
even if you have a
able
Titan
to go toe to toe, he gets hit on the worst.
Even if you have a Titan piece, you don't want to fight Vexmore. That's not you gaining points. You're not you might get him, but he has the possibility he's going to do the same to you for a lot cheaper. So he creates this really weird dynamic because he's braining not quite Titan level, but pretty dang close. And he's not getting shifted very easy. So
and he's way faster than a Titan moving 6 on a double. I could see him replacing FOMO in the future if people really lean on that cheapness.
He's scary. He's
it's,
real.
I mean, it's a baby
especially.
FOMO, right? Like it literally in all assets, it hits harder on the attacks, but it has fewer attacks, so it's not consistently putting out as much damage. But again, look at the rest of these. It's tough 6, just like a FOMO, and it's got 10 fewer wounds, but it's also 110 points cheaper than a FOMO, right?
Well, yeah. Well, if you get, and this is the thing, right? You get stuck in with him. What happens if he gets initiative next round and just onslaughts?
Goodbye. Go ahead and start picking up models.
3, 10, 5, 10. Yeah, that's gone.
It's a gut lord for on the onslaught. It's a base gut lord for
you
100
do not want to be stuck
and a double, 180 points and a double, right? Yeah, he whacks good, whacks hard, whacks long. It's a really, really cool piece. Last severe speedy bugger. This is the one with the triple that gets the extra attack action that makes sure that you're hitting on 3s. On 6 dice, Kyle, I think it was you that came up with this idea, but go ahead and if we know that we're going to be hitting on 3s for this attack, go ahead and pop up, instead of adding an extra attack action or an extra attack, sorry, let's just go ahead and pump that damage up and go 6-3, 3-3. Always the dream. Hitting the same damage hits and crits is always a delight for me. I'm always on board with it. I just rarely justifiable, but like
weirdly awesome.
Yeah, right. And then pretty much everything in the game you're guaranteed to hit for what I did the math on. I think it's 12 damage. It's 3 times 4. So 12 damage, almost guaranteed, or on average, right? On that first attack action. And then you might be able to swing 2 more times and get a little bit more damage through. Again, another delicate one, 16 wounds, 3 toughness, but it's got that move 6. So you can look at potentially doing 12-inch move and then 13-inch threat range to get that triple off in a turn, which is super powerful for 135 points. So if you are in a warband that does not need dice, things like Jade Obelisk doesn't mind it. They need the speed. They really complement them well. Iron Golems is the first thing that came to mind when I started messing with this one. You get that 6-inch range or 6-inch move, and then you get something that just goes, let me just chew up all the triples and get some really consistent damage out of it. Really cool ally piece. The last one, though, again, I think those two, this is the order that I think I got excited about them in. I saw Vexmar, I was like, oh, great, that profile's wild. Lasavir, oh, wow, that ability's really cool. Vashtis,
I was on the same level as you, but the double to reduce attacks made Vashtis go up way big, in my opinion.
Yep.
For 115 points.
And I'm going to come back to this, too, is 115 points, super cheap. T3, you're like, oh no, it's gonna die. So what? It dies, then I get to attack with my mini FOMO again. So it's like you're not punished for it; it's just rewarded for it dying.
The thing that I really like about it, compared to the Enrapturous, or that they had that ability before, which was 125, 135, something like that. So it costs more points. It only had a melee attack action. So now what we've done with this one is we've given it a wizard profile as well. Anytime you're only bringing something that has you're only bringing it for utility. I love having a ranged profile on it, especially wizard profiles, because it's just extra value. It's just, I'm already not going to want to be attacking you. Now I can attack you. I can just start zap. Great Bray Shaman is a great example of it as well. Or as my voice to text likes to call it, the Great British Almond. That thing, it's got it's got multiple utilities and stuff like that you can get value out of it. So, and this thing even kind of hits decently hard for chaff if they charge in on it. Send a chaff in here, still got 3 dice hitting 2-4. It's not bad at all. But yeah, this is for any Chaos Warband, you have to be thinking about, especially the Vexmore and Vashtis in particular, but Vashtis just for how can I just live, right? -1 attack on everything that you're doing in a 6-inch bubble. And it's not just melee. This is ranged. It is both anything, any kind of attack action. I was testing them the other day, and I turned auto paddle down to 1 attack, and I was like, I'm less worried about getting crit to death now. And it's just, forces a lot of movement out of your opponent. But yeah, start looking at all of these for Chaos, because they're all great.
Well,
and great models too.
Smart play on GW's part too. The fact that they made all 3 of them leaders, because if Lasavir and Vashtis were not leaders, like holy smokes, like you would be pulling all 3 of these guys in a lot of different war bands.
It's like 500 points, and then put whatever else you want in there. Just they're great, and as it is, even pulling 2 of them is still a really good option for allies. Just put what you need in there.
I just like also like it's telling a new player wants to get into chaos, doesn't want to buy a lot.
Mhm.
Buy these guys a box of demonettes, so you can run a 10-man warband and give the
Yeah.
attack blessing.
Yep.
3 heroes, a whole bunch of chaff. You're gonna have a good time with that list. It's gonna be
Yeah.
strong, it's gonna be effective, and why not? Right? It's a great entry into the game for playing models that you want if you like Slaanesh.
Yeah.
Real fun dice rolling experience too, because they've got like what 1/4 damage, and then you got Vexmore. We're like, we're gonna hit
they're
for you.
yeah, they're 4-3-1-4.
Yeah.
So they're
yeah.
really
2 attack,
fast.
8 dice,
and,
4
yeah.
crit damage. Oh, baby.
But the big thing too, like to point out, is share the pain, right? So they
Mhm.
all share the pain. Where if you attack them, you get hit. You could deal damage for each hit done to you, which goes well once again with their free reaction, where I know that they're going to kill my Vashtis. Share the pain, get a free attack. Just a very, very, very good synergy between the team.
I think it would still be when it's taken down, and I think when we looked at that for the Auric Flamekeeper, you wouldn't be able to react on the killing blow for it essentially.
Right,
so,
yeah.
but the first one, if you know you're going
Right.
to die, yeah, share the pain, and then we get the free action out of it after that too.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The best
Fun
part
stuff.
is like
Cool dudes.
we always made the joke like, and this is why chaos doesn't get action economy. Well, now it's like even if they activated, or they could just use the reaction and it doesn't count as an activation. So like no matter what, you get to react with the others. So there's yet again incentive to take multiples. And the only punishing part is it's 2 heroes. But is that punishing when one of your heroes is 115 and on a
No, it's
double says
loyal.
everybody else lives? Right. The other one's 180 points and on 180 points and an onslaught, it's a Gutlord.
Mm-hmm.
And also, it's hitting Gutlord back on 3s, where it's only
Yep.
getting hit on 4s from everything
Mhm.
else. It's hitting Stormcast Shield Boys on 3s.
Mm-hmm.
It is perpetually made Chaos a lot more interesting.
Yeah, there's nothing here that I'm not excited about. Everything
I'm so excited for everything.
Yeah, I'm only bummed that we don't even know what the next 2 are, but they're going to be what we know that we're going to get a new Chaos and Destruction, because we got Order and we got Death for Wintermaw. So a new Chaos and a new Destruction warbands coming out, and yeah, if this is how we're going to be eating, I'm going to be a fat boy full of profiles and all kinds of underworld models, because these are delicious.
And there's such great models to paint and hobby with,
Mhm.
and you get another game with it too. You get to play a
Mhm.
card game, I think, with it, and
Yep.
that's cool too. But big ups to I mean, it's cool though, dude. It's awesome. It just synergizes and we support each other in our game systems. It's awesome. I
Mhm.
can't.
Absolutely.
All right, that's it, boys. That's 6.
Ooh.
That's 6, dude. I'm exhausted. That's 6. We had a good time. We had a seminar about death. Yeah, we had the only time Peter's internet cut out was when Peter had something to say during his own section. Yeah, dude, that was awesome, by the way, Peter. We got a tournament coming up this weekend. Peter, Kyle, myself are going. It's going to be in Toms River, New Jersey at Nova Games. It's going to be awesome. You guys can still sign up if you want to come. It's a great time. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hit us up on Discord if you want more information about that. Honestly, we got some testing to do. We got more TTS League. Big shout out and thank you to ServoScribe, Chrisner, all those guys that help with yeah, one.
We flipped it back the other way. I got it wrong one way. You got it right the other way now.
Right. Thank you to those guys and everybody else who does work on Warcry, because I sent them the information. They had it up within a couple hours.
Yeah.
And same thing. Thanks. Another shout out to Hood and Ziggy Stardust for helping us with TTS League, helping us maintain our community. Without these people, like, we can't do any of this. This is all insane. I mean, please, if you guys see them, you play in our league, shout them out, buy them a coffee, do something that you can to help out. I mean, it's a fantastic community. We got a lot of new toys to play with and test with. Those models are being added to TTS as we speak. So I mean, like, hey, let's have some fun. Get out there, sign up for TTS League.
Come test them out in the May League. We're going to be dropping that pack. I think by the time this is out, you'll be able to sign up for it for a couple of days. So come playing casual, competitive, whatever you're feeling. Try out some of the new boys. Try some new toys, and throw some lists our way in the comments, or come show us in TTS. We love both.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Again, this is Rob, Girth Demon. I'm just going to sign out for the night.
Mike Sansom, Armor Enthusiast 7. Goodbye.
Kyle, Great White Nope. If you need a death sermon, to set me up on Discord.
And I'm going to say it since we all forgot. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Be a hero. Don't be the chaff. This
what
is Peter
a
with the
hero,
Peter.
Pete's definitely the hero tonight. So one of us three are the chaff. Probably me. But
let's go.
Peter.
Oh, Kyle. No, it's Kyle. Sorry, Kyle. Later, guys.
Have a good night.
Have a good night, boys.